Chapter 80. Hey, how many spirit beasts did we catch this time? A burly, bearded man walked out of the tent and asked the two people sitting in the middle of the camp. Leader, we've already caught nearly 20 spirit beasts. 2 of them are even holy beasts that could speak. The 2 men stood up and said, "Oh, they're already close to 20 of them?" The bearded man said happily, "This time we can make a fortune. Ha ha. Captain, your idea is really good. Those people are going to snatch the treasures, but we're going to stay here and hunt the spirit beasts." Those spirit beasts were all attracted by the treasures, and the ones that passed by were all drugged by the drugs we scattered, causing them to lose their ability to fight. If we sell these spirit beasts to those shops, we'll make a killing this time. The 2 of them excitedly asked their regiment commander for praise. The regiment commander glared at them and said, "What do you mean by selling to those shops?" "Stupid, we're going to sell these to the Beast Tamer Guild." "Ah, Beast Tamers Guild? You 2 idiots. I have already discussed this with Master Gu. We will sell the spirit beasts to them, and the Beast Tamer Master Guild will tame 5 spirit beasts for free." The full bearded man said, "Really? Wow, 5 tamed spirit beasts." The 2 men shouted excitedly, "You 2, keep your voices down. If others find out, I'll break your legs." The bearded man scolded, "Hee, as long as there is a tamed spirit beast, they can form a contract. It is inevitable that they are excited." A middle-aged man in a green robe came out of the tent and said with a smile, "Great Master Mu, why did you come out?" The fully bearded man looked at the green-robed man and said, "I came out to take a look at these spirit beasts that I just caught." Great Master Mu said, "These 2 were just caught." A man brought over the cage containing Little White and the Little Bird. The fully bearded man looked at Little Roar and Little Bird and furrowed his eyebrows as he said, "Why do we only catch 2 of these spirit beasts this time? Are they spirit beasts?" "Captain Hao, don't be angry. Although I've never seen these 2 spirit beasts before." Master Mu suddenly widened his eyes and looked at the little bird in surprise. "This is a 4-winged rock. It really is the 4-winged rock." Master Mu came to the side of the cage and looked at the listless bird excitedly. He wanted to reach out and touch it, but he seemed to have some scruples. In the end, he danced around the cage. "Great Master Mu, what kind of spirit beast is this 4-winged rock?" Seeing Great Master Mu's appearance, Commander Hao and his group members all looked at him in confusion. Cough, cough. Master Mu pretended to be calm and said, "I've only seen this 4-winged rock in books. It's just an ordinary spirit beast." "Huh? What kind of spirit beast is this rabbit-like thing? Why can you recognize me?" They obviously didn't believe Master Mu's words. He said that he had seen it in a book. How could it be an ordinary spirit beast? However, since he said so, they didn't say anything. However, Commander Hao secretly kept a secret. When the time came to sell this little bird, he would definitely sell it at a high price. "Great Master Mu, I don't think it's a spirit beast. It's just a rabbit," one of the team members said. "I also think it looks like a rabbit," someone agreed. "How could this possibly be a rabbit?" Great Master Mu shook his head and said, "To be able to travel with the 4-winged rock, it's definitely not an ordinary spirit beast. However, it's currently in a state of camouflage. When I see its true form, I might be able to recognize it." At this time, another 10 people walked over from the forest, laughing and chatting along the way. "Commander, look, we've caught another saint beast." A young man carried a cage and walked over. Inside the cage was a first-level saint beast, Black Panther. "Commander, the medicine you gave us is really good. This fellow was still very fierce just now. I didn't think that once it smelled the medicine, it would transform into this state, allowing us to capture it." "Haha, Great Master Mu. Looks like our harvest this time is not bad," Commander Hao said with a big laugh. Seeing that they had caught another saint beast, Great Master Mu's face also smiled like a chrysanthemum, repeatedly saying, "Not bad, not bad. Commander, we met this brat on the way here." Those people pushed a person over from behind. Sima Yue and the rest took a look and saw that the person who was tied up was someone familiar. "Qing Wuya, what is he doing here?" Fatty Chu said. "How you Kai? You actually disregarded the agreement between humans and used medicine to kill spirit beasts in large quantities." Qing Wuya glared at Hao Yu Kai and said angrily, "Oh, isn't this the young commander of the Green Mountain Mercenary Group? Aren't you taking on those small missions in Yen City? What are you doing here in the inner regions?" Hao Yukai obviously knew Qing Wuya, and from his tone of voice, the relationship between the two mercenary groups was not friendly. Damn it, they actually dared to treat spirit beasts like this. When Wei Ziqi heard Qing Wuya's words, he was so angry that he wanted to rush out immediately. However, he was pulled back by Sima Yue. They have the advantage in numbers now, and we can't call out our contracted beasts. Just based on a few of us, how can we fight them? Furthermore, those people are much stronger than us. But Ziqi, don't panic. Yu will definitely think of a way to deal with it. Little Roar is still in their hands. Fatty Chu comforted. "Ziqi, why are you so angry?" Ouyang Fei looked at Wei Ziqi, his heart filled with suspicion. In the past, this guy seemed so gentle and calm, but now he was actually so angry. "That's right. Ziqi, why are you so angry?" Sima Yue also did not understand. As a beast tamer master, every spirit beast is our friend. Using bewildering drugs to bewitch spirit beasts, this kind of person is the enemy of the entire beast tamer master world. Wei Ziqi said, since young, he had been instilled with a thought by his family. Spirit beasts were friends, and only people who could resonate with spirit beasts would be able to tame higher-ranked spirit beasts. Furthermore, Wei Ziqi had interacted with spirit beasts since young, and was already used to treating spirit beasts as a part of his life. Now that he heard that they had used this method to capture close to 20 spirit beasts, he was extremely angry. "Yu, what do we do now?" Bei Gongtang rarely took the initiative to ask. This showed that she was already used to this group. Sima Yue looked at Little Roar in the cage and said, "They have many people, and we are not their opponents now. The most important thing now is to find out what kind of drug they are using. Since it is a type of bewildering drug that is used in the air, the antidote should also be able to spread through the air. As long as we can get rid of the bewildering drug, based on the temperament of those spirit beasts, these people will not be able to gain any benefits. But we are so far away. We also don't know what kind of drug they are using, right?" Fatty Chu said. "There is." Wei Ziqi said, "There's a type of grass called the bitter-smelling grass. This grass can make spirit beasts irritable and increase their blood circulation. It can be said to be the antidote to all bewildering drugs. As long as we can find the bitter-smelling grass, no matter what kind of bewildering drug they are using, it will be effective. But where do we go to find the bitter-smelling grass now?" Ouyang Fei frowned. Chapter 81. "Yue, how did you get sweet-smelling grass?" Wei Ziqi asked in astonishment. "I collected it when I was bored," Sima Yue explained. "Now that we have the ambergris, what should we do? Let's burn the ambrosia grass, and the gas it emits will dissipate. At that time, the drug will naturally be neutralized." Wei Ziqi said. "Will this work?" Fatty Chu asked. "Why don't you give it a try?" Sima Yue said as she lit up the ambergris in her hand. Although the ambrosia grass had the word bitter in its name, it emitted a faint fragrance. The fragrance spread out from her hand and silently drifted towards the camp. Woo-woo. The spirit beast seemed to have smelled the fragrance. Because it hadn't been drugged for a long time, the effect of the drug wasn't too strong. After smelling the fragrance of the ambrosia grass, it began to become irritable. "What's wrong with this guy?" Seeing the holy beast's reaction, Hao Yukai said, "Muda, there shouldn't be any problem with this, right?" "It won't," Master Mu said with certainty. "Weren't there no problems with the previous spirit beasts?" Just as he finished speaking, two men hurriedly ran out from a large tent and said anxiously, "Leader, there seems to be something wrong with the spirit beasts inside. It looks like the knockout powder is starting to lose its effect." "How could this be? My knockout powder won't lose its effect for at least a month," Master Mu said with certainty. "Ha! It must be because you guys have done too many bad things. That's why the knockout powder didn't work," Qing Wuya said with a big laugh. "Bullshit." Hao Yukai slapped a palm onto Qing Wuya's face, directly sending him flying onto the ground. "This fellow knows about our matters. Leaving him alive would be a disaster." Master Mu coldly looked at Qing Wuya. Master Mu is right. Come, let's send young commander off. Hao Yukai said. Yes, commander. The two of them answered and drew their swords to attack Qing Wuya. Stop. The voice that came out of nowhere caused the two people to pause in their movements. Then, they felt a figure flash in front of them, and they were sent flying. Qing Wuya had originally closed his eyes and waited for death, regretting that he had come out alone. But the pain he had expected did not appear. Then, he heard two sounds of people landing on the ground. When he opened his eyes, he saw a cold figure standing in front of him. Little Sister Bei Gong? Qing Wuya shouted in disbelief. Brother Qing, are you all right? Sima Yue and Ouyang Fei came out from their hiding place and asked Qing Wuya. Qing Wuya shook his head, saying, I'm fine. Why are you guys here? I was just passing by and saw them trying to kill you, Sima Yue said. Initially, when he saw his subordinates being sent flying, he thought that they were from some big clan. Who would have thought that they were just three brats who were still wet behind their ears? You three are so young, but you actually learned how to meddle in other people's business. You can't blame others for losing your lives like this. Hao Yukai coldly snorted. Their matter had been exposed by Sima Yue and the other two, and he was acquainted with Qing Wuya, so he definitely couldn't let them leave today. Another three who came to court death. Great Master Mu frowned, saying, We can't let others know about our matter. Since they came together, then let's send them on their way. His words were emotionless. In his eyes, these lies were like ants. If you want to kill us, then we'll have to see if you have the ability to do so. Sima Yue said with an evil smile. To deal with the three of you, what ability do we need? Hao Yukai laughed loudly, saying, Any two of us here can take care of you. I'm Akai, you guys go. Yes, Captain. Two burly men walked out from the group, laughing coldly as they walked towards Sima Yue and the others. Brats, if you want to blame someone, blame yourself for barging in and finding out about our plan. In this day and age, only dead people's mouths are the tightest. Imo, why are you still talking nonsense with them? Hurry up and go. Hao Yukai urged. Sima Yue and Ouyang Fei looked at each other and saw that Imo and Akai were approaching them. Both of them moved at the same time and ran towards them. While they were unprepared, they kicked them away. Ouyang Fei retracted his leg, not letting go of the person he kicked away, but glanced at Sima Yue from the corner of his eyes. He had been training his body, so his body was comparable to a sword master's. It was not surprising that he could kick a spirit master. What surprised him was that Sima Yue had such great strength that she could kick an adult away. It turned out that not only was she agile, but her strength was also shocking. F*CKU. Imo and Akai felt that it was too embarrassing to be kicked away by the two kids in front of their teammates, especially when Great Master Mu was watching. However, they felt that it was because they were careless just now, which allowed the two to take advantage of the situation. Hence, the two of them got up from the ground and rushed towards Sima Yue and the others again. Run! Sima Yue shouted and started running in the campsite. Just as she finished speaking, she realized that Ouyang Fei had already run away. Damn it! Although they had discussed this beforehand, they did not think that Ouyang Fei would move so quickly. The two of them had already surveyed the area, so they did not run far. Instead, they circled around the campsite. Imo and Akai were panting as they chased after them, but they could not catch up. Chase them quickly. We can't let the two of them escape. Great Master Mu shouted. Quick, chase them quickly. If you let them escape, I'll have your heads. Hao Yukai also threatened. Hence, a few more people joined the group to chase after them. Qing Wuya saw that everyone's attention was on Sima Yue and the others, but if they wanted to escape, they would definitely be discovered. He came to Bei Gong Tang's side and said softly, Younger Sister Bei Gong, I'll attract their attention in a while. Take the chance to run quickly. My mission is to protect you, not to run. Bei Gong Tang said faintly, just hold on for a while longer. Qing Wuya saw that Bei Gong Tang was not worried at all and remembered that there were still two people missing. He guessed that they had some plans, so he did not rush her to leave. With a few more people chasing after them, Sima Yue and Ouyang Fei's skills were not bad, but two fists could not fight against four hands. Furthermore, there were so many people. The two of them were gradually forced together, and the people from a mercenary group formed a circle surrounding the two of them in the middle. Brat, where are you going to run now? Imo did not think that they would spend so much time to surround the two of them. The two of them were like loaches. Every time they wanted to catch them, they would escape. Run? Sima Yue looked at the people surrounding her and shook her head, saying, "The ones who have to run now are not us, but you guys. Ha! You guys are about to meet the King of Hell, and you still dare to threaten us." Roar dash. Akai had not finished speaking when a roar came from the tent. Following that, a series of beastly roars came out, giving everyone a fright. Chapter 82. Chirp, the bird that was locked up with Little Roar, also cried out. That cry was too sharp, causing people to cover their ears uncontrollably. Master Mu, what's wrong with these spirit beasts? Hao Yukai came to Master Mu's side and asked in a trembling voice. The mercenaries were all frightened by this situation. This is what happens when a spirit beast wakes up. After Master Mu finished speaking, he walked towards the tent where the spirit beast cages were kept. Before he opened the curtain, a group of mimicry spirit beasts ran out. Roar! The spirit beasts roared and returned to their true forms, filling up the entire campsite. Audacious human, you actually dare to use such a lowly knockout drug to deal with us. Hand over your life. The holy beast that had recovered its strength looked at the mercenaries and roared as it pounced towards them. It was unknown when Sima Yue had arrived at the side of Little Roar's cage. She opened the cage, and Little Roar pounced towards her. Woo-woo. You, I thought I would never see you again. Little Roar cried in Sima Yue's embrace, but not a single tear could be seen. All right, stop pretending. Sima Yue grabbed Little Roar's neck and said, "Didn't you say that you were going out to investigate the situation? How'd you get caught here?" Ugh, my friend is going crazy. I'm going to cheer him on." Little Roar's eyes darted left and right as he saw that the bird that was with him had returned to its original form. With a slight movement of its body, it broke free from Sima Yue's demonic claws and flew onto the bird's back. Depung, what do these people dare to catch? Let them have a taste of your power. Little Roar hooted on top of the four-winged rock. The mercenaries were all in a panic. These spirit beasts were brought back by them after they had knocked them out. Usually, they wouldn't be able to deal with a few spirit beasts, but now there were so many of them. Moreover, all the spirit beasts looked at them with hatred. They couldn't wait to tear them apart. Hao Yukai watched as the spirit beasts came out one by one and transformed into their true forms in front of them. Trembling, he tugged at Great Master Mu's clothes and said, "Great Master Mu, didn't you say that the knockout drug would last for at least 1 or 2 months? Why are they all awake now?" Master Mu was no longer as awe-inspiring as before. Looking at the 2 to 3 meter long spirit beast, he swallowed his saliva. Hearing Hao Yotsai's words, he said, "You ask me, but who should I ask? Leader must be those guys." Imo recalled Sima Yue's words and pointed at her. "Haha, you've guessed correctly." Wei Ziqi and the rest came out from the tent with the bitter, fragrant grass in his hands. Sweet-smelling grass. Great Master Mu immediately recognized the item in Wei Ziqi's hands. The bitter-smelling grass can neutralize all kinds of bewildering drugs. No wonder my bewildering drugs lost their effects. As a Beast Tamer Master from the Beast Tamer Master Guild, you actually disregarded the agreement between humans and spirit beasts and used bewildering drugs to capture spirit beasts. Wei Ziqi berated. Since you know that we are from the Beast Tamer Master Guild, you should also know that this is our Beast Tamer Master Guild's work. Yet you still dare to cause trouble. Hearing Wei Ziqi's words, Great Master Mu replied while sizing him up. He secretly thought that the words he said did not sound like an ordinary person. Beast Tamer Master Guild? I wonder if the people from the Beast Tamer Master Guild would still be willing to be your protective umbrella if they knew of your shady dealings. I'm afraid that Wei Heng would not let you off. Wei Ziqi laughed coldly. Who are you? How do you know Wei Hong? Great Master Mu heard Wei Heng's name and felt guilty. Who in the Beast Tamer Master Guild did not know of the vice president of the Beast Tamer Master Guild? However, he lived in seclusion and rarely appeared outside, so not many people knew of him. Now that he heard Wei Ziqi mention Wei Hong, he knew that his identity was definitely not ordinary. Wei Hong is my granduncle. I am from the Wei family, Wei Ziqi said proudly. Wei family. Great Master Mu's eyes widened. He had almost killed a member of the Wei family. Ziqi, why are you wasting words with him? Those spirit beasts have more or less recovered. If we don't retreat now, I'm afraid that we will be implicated. Fatty Chu reminded from the side. The spirit beasts that had just woken up from a knockout drug were extremely irritable. Thinking about how they had been secretly imprisoned by the humans, they burned with anger. Now that they could see the people who had harmed them, they could not control their thoughts. Roar dash, the spirit beasts roared at them, then charged towards the mercenary group. Wei Ziqi and the others had already retreated far away, quickly running to an ancient tree far away. You guys actually arrived, but you didn't call us. Fatty Chu saw that Sima Yue and the other three were already sitting on a branch of a large tree and complained. We saw that you guys were chatting happily with them and did not want to disturb you. Bei Gong Tang said in a rare, humorous tone, you guys did it on purpose. Fatty Chu sat on the branch and complained softly. Those spirit beasts have all become irritable. Why is Little Roar fine? Wei Ziqi looked at Little Roar, who was jumping around on the four-winged rock, and asked suspiciously. Sima Yue shrugged her shoulders and said, I don't know about this either. SSS, these spirit beasts are really ruthless. Everyone followed her gaze and looked over. A black panther had just torn IMO into two halves, and the scene was extremely bloody. The bitter-smelling grass originally caused the spirit beasts to become irritable. Adding on to the fact that they had been tricked by the humans, their hearts were filled with hatred. Naturally, their attacks were not light. Ouyang Fei's expression did not change as he said. Sima Yue and Bei Gong Tang did not have much of a reaction to this scene. These people had previously said that they would kill them to silence them, and had even violated the agreement. Now that they had ended up like this, they could only blame themselves. Fatty Chu and Wei Ziqi had never seen such a bloody scene before. Seeing the fresh blood splattered all over the ground, they subconsciously turned their heads. Although the mercenary group had more than 30 people, compared to the 20 spirit beasts, their battle strength was relatively weak. Very quickly, those people were all killed by the spirit beasts. Those lower-ranked spirit beasts began to kill each other after killing the people. Little Roar, Sima Yue suddenly called out. Little Roar looked at her and cleared his throat. He suddenly raised his head and roared. Roar dash. It was strange to say that the spirit beasts that had been extremely violent and ready to fight suddenly quietened down. They crawled on the ground and did not look like they did before. Sima Yue jumped down from the tree branch and walked straight towards Little Roar and the others, leaving a few people staring at her with their mouths agape. Brother Sima, what kind of spirit beast is that? Qing Wei asked blankly. We've never seen its original form. Fatty Chu said. However, even if we saw it, we might not be able to recognize it. To be able to make a group of spirit beasts submit, this is not something that an ordinary spirit beast can do. Wei Ziqi shook his head and said, in any case, it's a very awesome spirit beast. Fatty Chu said with a face full of pride, looking as if Little Roar was his contracted spirit beast. Shameless. Ouyang Fei walked past Fatty Chu and could not help but roll his eyes at him. Sima Yue arrived at the campsite from before. The corpses were strewn all over the place. She looked at Little Roar, the four-winged rock below, and realized that its eyes were still scarlet red. Chapter 83. Yeah. Little Roar proudly looked at Sima Yue. Compared to the four-winged rock's huge body, it was like comparing a mouse to an elephant. Sima Yue looked at Little Roar's proud eyes and said, let them all leave. Oh, Little Roar replied, then roared at the spirit beasts. The spirit beasts left one after another, leaving behind only the four-winged roc. It's not going back. Sima Yue glanced at the four-winged roc and asked. Little Roar came down from the four-winged roc's back and crawled on top of her head, saying to Peng is my friend. He came with me, so of course he won't leave. Sima Yue thought of the time when it tricked Ye Guang into forming a contract with her. Could it be that the four-winged roc was also tricked by it? Feeling her suspicion towards him, Little Roar said in his heart, when have I ever tricked others? Both Ye Guang and Peng willingly followed me. Okay? Don't think of me as someone who is full of evil tricks like you. Hearing Little Roar saying that she was full of evil tricks, Sima Yue pulled Little Roar down from her head. Before she could reprimand him, she saw the four-winged roc transform into its mimicry form and fly towards her. It landed on her shoulder and closed its eyes, falling asleep. Sima Yue tossed Little Roar aside when she felt Little Chick fall from her shoulder and reached out to catch Little Chick. You're biased, Little Roar roared. Sima Yue rolled her eyes at him, then looked at the bird in her palm and said, why did it faint? Wei Ziqi walked over and said, maybe it's because of the drug just now. Qing Wuya cupped his fists towards them and said, Wuya thanks all of you for saving my life today. If there's anything you need Wuya to do in the future, feel free to ask. Wuya will not hesitate to die 10,000 deaths. Big Brother Qing's words are too serious. Wei Ziqi raised both his hands and said, however, why is Big Brother Qing still in the Pu Luo mountain range? I'll tell you about this later. Let's leave this place first. Qing Wuya said. These mercenaries have been roaming the Pu Luo mountain range for many years, so they naturally knew that the smell of blood would attract other spirit beasts. The five of them quickly left the campsite. As Qing Wuya walked, he explained why he was here. It turned out that their previous mission was completed within 10 days of entering the mountain. Later on, their mercenary group received a second mission, which was to bring people from a large family to the inner region. Originally, they were also unwilling. After all, the inner region was really too dangerous, but that clan member said that during this period of time, Pu Luo mountain range would be safe because all the spirit beasts would be attracted by the treasures. In addition to the generous rewards they offered, Qing Wuya's father agreed. However, he only brought along 2 of the stronger members of the group. Qing Wuya, on the other hand, insisted on coming along to take a look at the inner area. After he finished talking about himself, Qing Wuya said, why are you guys still in this mountain? Furthermore, he had even come to the inner region. Although it is relatively safe now, it is not absolute. We only came along to join in the fun. Wei Ziqi said, just now, looking at Big Brother Qing's appearance, you seem to know the people from the mercenary group? Yeah, that's the Black Bear mercenary group that has been opposing our Green Mountain mercenary group for many years. Although their group leader Hao Yu Kai's strength is not bad, his character is not good. He often leads his group members to steal other people's business and has done many bad things. I never thought that they would actually collude with the Beast Tamer Master Guild to do such a thing. Qing Wuya said, do you know that great Master Mu? Wei Ziqi asked. I do. He is a Beast Tamer Master from Yin City's Beast Tamer Master Guild. I heard that his character is not that great. Otherwise, he would not be able to do such a thing. I think that he alone would not be able to do such a thing. For him to dare to do such a thing, it must be because the mercenary guild is supporting him from behind, or it could be said that the guild incited him to do so. Wei Ziqi said, when I return, I will definitely tell this matter to my granduncle. When Qing Wuya heard Wei Ziqi's words, he immediately understood his identity. Before this, he had only guessed that his identity was not ordinary. He never thought that he would actually be someone from a Beast Tamer Master clan. They walked towards the mountain where the golden snake fruit was. After a day, they arrived at the campsite. Qing Wuya invited them to set up camp together, but Sima Yue politely rejected him. If they were together with others, it would be inconvenient for them to take action at that time. Qing Wuya was originally very worried about them, but seeing that they were really unwilling, he did not force them. He only told them to look for him directly if they encountered any problems. Sima Yue and the others agreed before Qing Wuya left. seeing that there were many more people and spirit beasts in the mountain valley. Fatty Chu hugged Sima Yue's shoulder and said, Yue, there are many people who have come these 2 days. Seeing that the mountain was filled with people and spirit beasts, Sima Yue and Bei Gongtang's eyes were filled with an unknown seriousness. There's still 1 more day and night before the golden snake fruit ripens. Let's rest nearby first, Sima Yue suggested. The few of them found a more secluded spot where they could see the situation below. Because this place was too small, although it was more secluded, no one came to occupy it. While they were waiting for the golden snake fruit to ripen, Sima Yue used the excuse of going to the toilet to avoid Wei Ziqi and the others. She looked around and saw that there was no one around. She called Little Roar out and stared at him as she asked, What's up with this 4-winged rock? Little Rock? Little Roar shrunk his neck and said, I saw that you wanted to snatch the golden snake fruit. This little rock can fly. When you snatch the golden snake fruit, he can fly us away. So you tricked him into coming over? Sima Yue said, this spirit beast is willing to follow you. This is a good thing. Little Roar said, Of course I like spirit beasts. The more the better. But if you tricked him, what if he comes back to his senses and comes to settle the score with us? Sima Yue stretched out a hand and poked Little Roar's head. This 4-winged rock's rank isn't low, right? When he goes berserk, will you be able to defeat him? With Big Brother Crimson Flame here, which spirit beast would dare to act rashly in front of you? Little Roar muttered softly. What did you say? Sima Yue grabbed Little Roar and asked. Nothing much. Little Roar remembered that Crimson Flame told him not to talk about him and hurriedly denied it. He changed the topic and said, Anyway, Little Rock won't hurt you. You can relax. But my contract is already full. I can't contract him anymore. Sima Yue said, No problem. You can let him stay at Little Spirit's place. When you can contract him, you can keep him. Little Roar said unconcernedly. Although he is only a 9th level Saint Beast, he has the blood of the ancient Great Rock. Once his blood awakens, he could be considered a pretty good spirit beast. When Sima Yue heard Little Roar's words, the corner of her mouth twitched. What did he mean by a 9th level Saint Beast? This was an existence that was just 1 step away from becoming a divine beast. It was equivalent to the existence of a spirit saint. If it were to fight with Sima Lai, who knows who would win or lose? How would it become a cabbage in his mouth? Chapter 84. You said that the 4-winged rock has the bloodline of the ancient Great Rock. What kind of spiritual beast is the ancient Great Rock? Little Roar rolled its eyes at her, looking like a city dweller looking at a country bumpkin. What spirit beast? That's a divine beast. Little Roar said, In the ancient era, it was even more powerful than our divine Roar clan. Don't you humans have a saying, the Great Rock spreads its wings for 90,000 miles? Although this was a bit exaggerated, its speed was not something an ordinary bird-type mythological beast could compare with. Moreover, its fighting strength was also very strong. If Little Rock can awaken his bloodline, then you'll have a pretty good assistant. Sima Yue looked at the little bird in her other hand. It was hard to imagine that this little bird was a spiritual beast with the bloodline of an ancient divine beast. And let me tell you, although this little rock doesn't look like much with my fiery eyes of truth, even if it doesn't awaken its bloodline, it will still be a 4-winged rock king when it grows up. As far as I know, the 4-winged rocks have not had a king for a long time. Little Roar said mysteriously. Hearing that the little bird that had been sleeping for a day and night actually had such an identity, Sima Yue was even more puzzled. How did Little Roar manage to trick such a spiritual beast? Why is it still sleeping? It's probably the effect of the previous hallucinogenic drug. Sima Yue recalled the blood-red eyes of the 4-winged rock. Perhaps it had something to do with that. Then we'll just sleep like this. When the golden snake fruit ripens, it won't be of much help. Sima Yue said helplessly. It's awake. Little Roar happily said. The 4-winged rock was the helper it had specially found. If it continued to sleep like this, wouldn't it have found it for nothing? Therefore, when it sensed that the 4-winged rock had awakened, It was extremely happy. The four-winged rock's tightly shut eyes slowly opened. When it saw someone, its hazy gaze instantly became sharp, and all the feathers on its body stood up. After recognizing that it was Sima Yue, his body relaxed. "You're awake?" Sima Yue asked. "Thank you for saving us," the four-winged rock said as it flapped its wings. "Just conveniently." Sima Yue said, "How are you now?" "I'm fine," the four-winged rock said. "Do you want to contract me now?" "Ah." Sima Yue did not expect the four-winged rock to be so direct. She shook her head and said, "I can't form a contract with you now. My contract quota is already full, so I can't contract any more spirit beasts." "Oh." The four-winged rock calmly nodded his head and said, "Little Roar said that you have a place where you can cultivate. He said that if you can't form a contract, you can go inside and cultivate. Wait until you can form a contract with me." "Air." Sima Yue looked at the four-winged rock. "Are you really willing to follow me?" The four-winged rock nodded. "Why?" Sima Yue was confused. "Little Roar's bloodline is even higher than mine. He said that following you would have a bright future. I believe his words." The four-winged rock said seriously. Sima Yue was shocked by his reply. It turned out that this guy wasn't following her because of her, but because of Little Roar. With a thought, Little Roar and the four-winged rock were thrown to Little Spirit. This kind of partner made her eyes hurt. Out of sight, out of mind. The scene in front of the four-winged rock changed, and he was shocked. Seeing that Little Roar was here, he relaxed. "This is Yu's territory. You can find any place to cultivate," Little Roar said. Little Spirit appeared in the air and looked at the four-winged rock. "This is my world and also Master's place. Since you've come in, you'll be Master's contracted beast. Although you haven't formed a contract yet. Little Roar, Master wants you to bring Little Rock around and take care of him." After he finished speaking, he disappeared, leaving behind the four-winged rock who was still in shock. Little Roar flew over and said, "How is it? I didn't lie to you, right?" Little Rock nodded his head fiercely and said, "It's really too mysterious. There's actually a place like this. The spiritual energy here is much denser than outside. All right, I'll bring you around now. There are some places that we can't go without permission. Otherwise, you won't be happy." After Little Roar finished speaking, he brought Little Rock to tour around the Spirit Pearl. Sima Yue slowly walked back to Wei Ziqi's side. Because the place was too small, they had no way to set up a tent. The four of them sat behind a large rock and chatted. "Yue, you actually went for so long. Did you empty your stomach?" Fatty Chu teased with a smile. Sima Yue smiled and did not answer him. Everyone realized that the little bird in her embrace had disappeared and thought that it had woken up and left. Sima Yue walked over and sat beside them. This rock was really not bad. It was just big enough to hide the five of them. It was also behind the shrubbery and at the edge of the cliff. The five of them sat side by side. If the passers-by did not look carefully, they would not be able to see their figures. Furthermore, if they stuck their heads out, they would be able to see the scene below. There's still one more day before the golden snake fruit ripens. Right now, there are even more spirit beasts below. Today I saw quite a few higher-ranked spirit beasts. Wei Ziqi said, "I've never seen such a scene in my life. Right now my heart is beating so fast." Fatty Chu patted his chest and said, "If your heart doesn't beat, you're done for." Ouyang Fei said, They did not think that Ouyang Fei would say something like that. Everyone laughed. "Someone's coming," Bei Gong Tang reminded. Everyone quietened down. With the tall shrubbery blocking them, the passers-by outside could not see them. "Father, I suspect that younger brother has really been killed by the Sima family." Sima Yue heard the person speaking and did not think that it would be someone she was familiar with. Nail and he and Nail and Lon walked in the forest and did not notice the person behind the shrubbery. "Lon has only been missing for a period of time. How can you be so sure that he's been killed by the Sima family?" Nail and he asked, "Are you hiding something from me?" Nail and Lon bit her lips, and a struggle flashed past her eyes. In the end, the worry in her heart took over, and she said, "Father, on the morning that younger brother went missing, he came to find me and said that the trash from the Sima family had returned home. She said that she wanted to go to the academy early in the morning. He brought some guards with him and said that he wanted to settle the score with her and quietly get rid of her. However, he did not expect that he would never return. He was not found alive, and his corpse was not found. Tell me, other than him being killed by the Sima family, what else could it be? Nonsense. Nayland, he chided. You were just expelled from the academy. Why are you creating trouble again? Father, I didn't ask younger brother to go. I also advised him at that time, but he didn't listen to me. Nayland Lan said aggrievedly, Father, this isn't the most important thing now. Younger brother has already been missing for more than a month. Should we go to the Sima family and ask? If the Sima family really dares to kill my son, my Nayland family will be irreconcilable with them. Nayland, he gritted his teeth and said, Wait until we settle the matter of the golden snake fruit. When we go back, we will go to the Sima family. The two of them walked far away as they talked. Sima Yue and the other four finally heaved a long sigh of relief. Sima Yue thought about how they said that they would go back and find trouble with the Sima family. She lifted her head and saw that everyone was looking at her. Tell me, is it you? Chapter 85. Sima Yue touched her nose and said something that even she did not believe. Cough, cough. I'm such a pure person. Why would I do such a thing? When Little Roar and the others heard Sima Yue's words in the Spirit Pearl, they all rolled their eyes. Wei Ziqi and the rest looked at her as if she was deceiving herself. If they did not know her strength, they would have believed her. But after this trip to the Pu Luo mountain range, they knew that she was not weaker than them and was even more powerful than them. Her words were not able to convince herself, let alone deceive them. It doesn't matter if you did it or not. Based on what Nayland Lan and the others said, they're going back to find trouble with the Sima family. Fatty Chu said worriedly. He didn't care about the matters between the Sima family and the Nayland family before, but now he treated Sima Yue as his brother, so he naturally treated her matters as his own. Last time, when you caused Nayland Lan to be expelled, the Nayland clan has been harboring a grudge against you. I heard that in the past few months, they have been suppressing your family. If it wasn't for the fact that General Sima has military power, they would have already taken action. Wei Ziqi said, although that Nayland Shi was somewhat ignorant and incompetent, he was indeed Nayland He's treasure. If they knew that he had been killed by you, I'm sure they would take even more drastic measures. With regards to Wei Ziqi saying that she had killed Nayland Shi, she did not deny it. She had also thought of their worries. Since he said that he's going to cause trouble for Grandpa, we might as well nip the problem in the bud. Hearing Sima Yue's calm words, the few of them were shocked. TSKDSK, you just said that you're a pure person, but now you're saying these words so casually. Fatty Chu tore down her stage. Sima Yue glanced at him and said, Purity depends on the person. A dragon had a reverse scale. Touching it would make it angry. If anyone dares to touch my family, I, Sima Yue, will not let them off easily. The four of them were moved by Sima Yue's words. Every dragon had a reverse scale, and it was the same for them. Roar! An angry roar came from the opposite valley, startling the people who were waiting for the golden snake fruit to ripen. What happened? I don't know. Why is this divine beast suddenly angry? It seems like someone is approaching the golden snake fruit. It's a spirit beast. Heavens, it's a level 9 holy beast. They're fighting. Sima Yue and the rest stood up and crouched on the rocks to look into the valley. Indeed, they saw two spirit beasts fighting. The battle even affected the nearby spirit beasts, forcing them to retreat quite a distance. That Saint Beast is really powerful to actually be able to fight against a divine beast. Fatty Chu clicked his tongue as he watched the battle below. That's because its blood meridians are slightly higher than that spirit beast's. Wei Ziqi said, the blood meridians of spirit beasts can, to a certain extent, eliminate some of the pressure from the ranks. However, whether we can win or not still depends on our own strength. That spirit beast hid its strength. The Saint Beast is going to lose. Bei Gong Tang said. The others did not know how Bei Gong Tang knew, but not long after she finished speaking, that Saint Beast was beaten to the ground. It breathed in very little and breathed out very much. That full ape is actually a level 2 divine beast. The surrounding people were all shocked by the spirit beast's final display of strength. At the same time, they were also at a loss. General, I never thought that full ape would actually be a level 2 divine beast. Like this, the difficulty of obtaining the golden snake fruit has greatly increased. A guard behind Sima Lai said. Originally, a level 1 divine beast and a level 2 spirit saint were about the same in strength. With the help of others, it was not impossible for Sima Lai to obtain the golden snake fruit. However, now that this full ape had advanced to a level 2 divine beast, its battle prowess was comparable to a level 4 spirit saint. Calculating it, it was 2 levels higher than him. If he wanted to win against it, the hope became very slim. This golden snake fruit is admittedly very attractive, but this macaque actually advanced in rank. Pass down the order to act according to the situation. Don't fight recklessly. Sima Lai looked at the Nalan family's camp not too far away. Over there, Nalan, he was talking with his followers. It seemed that they were also talking about what had just happened. The large rock that Sima Yue and the others were hiding and was not too far away from the Sima family's camp. Hearing Sima Lai's words, her anxious heart finally relaxed. She was afraid that Sima Lai would become muddle-headed over the matter of this treasure and insist on fighting recklessly to obtain the golden snake fruit with a full ape. Now that she knew that he did not think this way, she was relieved. However, she did not think that their coveting of the golden snake fruit would be seen by others as overestimating their own capabilities. Night slowly descended. Tonight's moon was exceptionally bright, like a jade plate hanging high in the sky. The silver splendor sprinkled down on the valley. Perhaps it was because they felt that the golden snake fruit was about to ripen. The spirit beasts in the valley and the people on the mountain did not rest. Everyone was nervously paying attention to the situation of the golden snake fruit. Sima Yue stared fixedly at the golden snake fruit tree. Because she understood it a little more than others, her focus was different. Most people would only see the golden snake fruit absorbing the moonlight. The fruit that had not completely turned golden was slowly ripening. However, she placed her gaze on the golden snake fruit tree. The golden snake fruit tree emitted a faint white light, as if it was draped with a thin layer of silver gauze. Under the cover of the moonlight, if one did not look carefully, they would not be able to see it. Is that the gas that recovers the spirit? Sima Yue saw the full ape sitting beside the golden snake fruit, trying its best to absorb the qi emitted by the golden snake fruit. It seemed that the reason it was able to advance to a second-level divine beast was not unrelated to this gas. In the latter half of the night, when everyone was a little drowsy, Immerse suddenly said, "The golden snake fruit is about to ripen." Sima Yue kept looking at the golden snake fruit tree and naturally noticed the changes to the golden snake fruit. Those 7 fruits had all turned golden. The fruit emitted a rich fragrance, causing the spirit beasts present to go crazy. Those spirit beasts all rushed towards a cliff, wanting to pick the fruit. However, they discovered that the fruit was wrapped in a white light, isolating everyone from touching it. Just a little bit more. Immerse said, "The golden snake fruit has ripened. Everyone, quickly go and pick it." It was unknown who shouted from the top of the mountain, but the crowd was immediately captivated by the golden snake fruit. They did not care about the group of spirit beasts below and directly flew towards the golden snake fruit. When a spirit master reached the level of a spirit king, they would be able to fly in the air. It seemed that these people were all experts of the spirit king level and above. Those spirit masters directly flew towards the cliff, but they were sent flying by the wind created by the full ape's punch. Those people landed on the ground and were immediately surrounded by the spirit beasts. Sima Yue saw that Sima Lai was also flying towards the full ape. She took out a bottle of medicinal powder and placed it in Bei Gongtang's hands, saying, "I'll go and snatch the golden snake fruit. Help me scatter this thing on the Nalan clan members. If I can snatch the golden snake fruit, I'll definitely give you a share." Chapter 86. Bei Gongtang looked at Sima Yue and said, "You want to go by yourself? You've seen the situation below. If we all go down, I'm afraid we won't even be enough to fill the gaps between the teeth of these people and beasts. Sima Yue said, I have a way to sneak in, but I can't bring all of you along. Ziqi, Ouyang, Fatty, the three of you have to be her protectors. Scatter this powder on the Nailin family members and immediately retreat. We'll meet in Yin City 2 days later. How can we let you go alone? Bei Gong Tang did not accept the medicine bottle. I haven't finished my business yet. I won't joke around with my life. Sima Yue stuffed the bottle into Bei Gong Tang's hands and said, Trust me, I'll bring the golden snake fruit back for you. After saying that, she quickly dashed out of the bushes and ran down the mountain. Let's go too. Ouyang Fei said. She's not a boastful person. Since she said that she has a way, it should be true. If we go, we might even drag her down. Wei Ziqi and Fatty Chu did not refute Ouyang Fei's words because what he said was the truth. They had always felt that they were the best among their peers. They had never thought that they would one day become a burden to others. Bei Gong Tang watched as Sima Yue ran down the mountain and disappeared into the midst of the spirit beasts. She could not help but worry. How long had it been since he last felt worried about others? Clenching the medicine bottle in his hand, he put away his worries and said, You guys wait for me here. I'll go and spread this on the Nailin family. She was about to leave when Ouyang Fei stopped her. Let's go together. Bei Gong Tang looked at Ouyang Fei's resolute gaze and nodded. We don't need to scatter this on Nailin He. There are definitely still people in the Nailin clan's camp. Let's scatter it in their tents and leave. Wei Ziqi said, It's too chaotic here. It's better to leave early. Yes, let's go. Wait. Fatty Chu stopped everyone, took out 4 masks from his spatial ring, and handed them to everyone, saying, In order to not be discovered, we should wear these. Fatty, how did you get masked? Wei Ziqi asked. Yue gave it to me. Fatty Chu put on his mask and walked out first. Ouyang Fei and the other 2 were speechless as they looked at the mask in their hands. Had Sima Yue prepared the mask beforehand to do something bad? Let's go too. The 3 of them put on their masks and followed Fatty Chu towards the Nailin family's tent. Because they didn't know how many people were in the camp, Bei Gong Tang and the others scattered the powder into the tent and left. They didn't see who was in the tent. Nailin Lan stood outside the tent and looked at the scene below for a while. She was so scared that her face was as white as paper. She staggered back into the tent. With lingering fear in her heart, she did not notice that there was a faint fragrance in the tent. After Wei Ziqi and the other 3 succeeded, they began to run towards the other side of the mountain. Not long after, they saw Yaguang waiting for them in front. Master told me to bring you all out. Yaguang revealed his true form and said to Wei Ziqi and the others, Right now, the inner regions were a little chaotic. If they met a crazy spirit beast, Yaguang's battle strength as a holy beast would be slightly stronger. Wei Ziqi and the others didn't hesitate and directly climbed onto Yaguang's back, letting him carry them as they ran towards the outer regions. Bei Gong Tang sat at the very back. She turned around and looked at the valley that was lit up by the battle, her gaze slightly restrained. When Sima Yue came out from the large rock, she took out a mask and put it on before running down the mountain. The moment she entered the herd of spirit beasts, the aura on her body suddenly changed. It was as if her entire aura had disappeared into thin air. Even when she walked past those people and spirit beasts, they didn't notice her at all. As a result, she quickly passed through the herd of spirit beasts and arrived at the bottom of the cliff. With a leap, she flew to the side of the golden snake fruit tree. Wow, I never thought that I would be able to experience the feeling of flying with you. Sima Yue sighed to Mo Sha after landing. Mo Sha didn't reply to her and said, When you come into contact with the golden snake fruit, the power I placed on your body will disappear. At that time, you can only rely on yourself to obtain the golden snake fruit. Furthermore, you have to be quick. If the people and spirit beasts below find out, you don't need me to tell you the consequences. I understand. Sima Yue nodded. There are so many spirit beasts and human experts below. If they took the opportunity to attack her while she was digging up the golden snake fruit tree, even if she didn't die, she would still walk to the gates of hell. If you're ready, I'll withdraw my power. After Mo Shah finished speaking, Sima Yue felt that the power that had just entered her body had disappeared. That light feeling had also disappeared. She took out the small shovel that she usually used to remove weeds in her spirit pearl and squatted under the golden snake fruit tree, carefully digging. This golden snake fruit tree was only 50 centimeters tall, but the roots below were not small. In order to reduce the damage to the golden snake fruit tree, she tried her best to dig up all the roots. Just as she was about to succeed, an angry roar came from the sky. Roar dash. The full ape that was fighting with Sima Lai felt that someone was moving the golden snake fruit. It, who had the advantage, gave up on chasing Sima Lai and turned around to attack Sima Yue. Sima Lai and the full ape fought a few rounds and wanted to retreat. However, the full ape didn't give him the chance to escape. Now that he saw the full ape leave, Sima Lai took the opportunity to fly to a nearby mountain peak. He wanted to see who exactly could avoid the eyes of so many people and spirit beasts and come to the side of the golden snake fruit tree. The others also noticed the situation on the cliff and looked towards the golden snake fruit tree one after another. They saw a person wearing a mask and a large cloak squatting there and digging up the golden snake fruit. Who is that? Everyone couldn't remember that such a person had appeared in the past few days. Even if they tried to identify her carefully, they couldn't recognize her identity. Sima Yue felt the full ape attacking her. Seeing that there was still a bit of roots in the soil, she steeled her heart and pulled up the golden snake fruit tree, throwing it into her spirit pearl. In the instant that the golden snake fruit tree disappeared, Mo Shah's power once again entered her body. Before she could prepare herself, the full ape ran over and she could only receive its punch. PFF-. Sima Yue was sent flying by the full ape's punch. She spat out a mouthful of blood and finally flipped in the air. It was only then that everyone could clearly see her figure. That figure was slightly frail, but it couldn't hide the aura that was emitted from her body. Spirit paragon, Sima Lai said uncertainly. Patriarch, when did a spirit paragon appear in the Yilin continent? No, that's not a spirit paragon. Her aura is very weak. Obviously, that's not her true strength. Audacious human, you actually dare to steal my golden snake fruit. The full ape saw that even the golden snake fruit tree had been dug up and was extremely angry. Furthermore, she didn't die after receiving its punch, which made it even angrier. It leapt up and its huge fist once again flew towards Sima Yue. Chapter 87. Mo Shah could feel the violent energy contained within the astral wind. He took Sima Yue and retreated tens of meters in the air to avoid the full ape's explosive punch. Hey, didn't you say you were very powerful? How come you can't even beat a monkey now? Sima Yue asked as she saw Mo Shah dodging with her. My soul is unstable right now, so I can't use my full strength. Mo Shah said, furthermore, I wasn't prepared to receive that palm just now. I took it head on and suffered some injuries. All right, since we can't beat them, let's run away first. If other people also want to snatch it, we will be in trouble. After saying that, Sima Yue called Little Rock out from the spirit pearl. Seeing that Little Rock had appeared in his original form, Sima Yue jumped onto his back. Little monkey, I'm not going to play with you today. Sima Yue looked at the full ape condescendingly. Seeing its irritation, anger, and unwillingness, she suddenly couldn't bear it. It seemed a little too much to uproot a treasure that it had guarded for hundreds and thousands of years. Her mind raced for a few seconds before she took out a golden snake fruit and threw it at the full ape, saying, Little monkey, you've been guarding it for so long. I'll share some with you too. The full ape caught the golden snake fruit that Sima Yue threw over. After confirming that there was no mistake, he raised his head and saw that she had already taken the opportunity to leave on Little Rock. He was a little confused. It originally thought that it wouldn't be able to get the golden snake fruit back today, but it didn't expect that this person would actually give it one. This made it rather surprised. However, it only needed one golden snake fruit, because it didn't want to rely on this to increase its strength, but it wanted this to stimulate the awakening of the bloodline in its body. Fortunately, this human did not snatch away all of the golden snake fruits, leaving it with hope. Otherwise, even if it had to risk self-destructing, it would have dragged her down with it. Thinking of this, the naive, full ape felt grateful to Sima Yue. If she knew about this, she might scold him for being a fool. After eating the golden snake fruit, the full ape flew in another direction, leaving behind a valley full of spirit beasts and humans. Before anyone could react, the two parties who were fighting over the golden snake fruit had already left. There was no longer the aura of the golden snake fruit in the valley. Those spirit beasts slowly regained their senses, and some of the higher-ranked ones were the first to leave. Patriarch, the golden snake fruit is gone just like that? The Nalan clan's guards came to Nalan He's side. They still felt that they were in a dream. Just now, he was still fighting with others for the golden snake fruit. And in the blink of an eye, this thing was gone? What else could it be? Even if that person isn't a spiritual elder, he's at least a high-level spiritual emperor. Otherwise, how could he use a secret technique to raise his strength to a spiritual elder? Such a person even has a flying spirit beast by his side. Are you going to snatch it from him? Nalan, he thought about how he had come here for nothing. His heart was filled with anger, and he vented his anger on the guard. This subordinate doesn't dare. The guard hurriedly cupped his fists and said, "Go back and pack up. Let's leave this valley first." Nalan, he instructed. "Yes, Patriarch." The Nalan clan's people quickly left, and the others also left the mountain one after another. Although it wasn't safe to travel at night, if they stayed here, the spirit beasts below might go crazy and attack them. That would be troublesome. There were two people who didn't move. One was Sima Lai, and the other was Qing Wuya. Sima Lai stood on the mountain top, looking in the direction that Sima Yue left. He felt that the figure was somewhat familiar, but he couldn't remember where he had seen it before. After thinking for a long time, he still didn't think that it was the granddaughter that he had brought up since she was young. Qing Wuya, on the other hand, recognized Sima Yue. When he first saw the four-winged rock, he thought that it was just a coincidence. The person who had snatched the golden snake fruit just so happened to have a four-winged rock. However, when he recognized that the little white sitting on the four-winged rock's head was Little Roar, he was certain that the person was Sima Yue. However, he didn't plan to tell anyone about this matter. It could be considered as a way to repay Sima Yue for saving his life. Hearing his father's call, he turned around and left with them. Sima Lai had also originally seen Little Roar, but because he had never seen the four-winged rock before, he thought that it was the white feather on the four-winged rock's forehead. Thus, he missed the chance to recognize Sima Yue. "General, that person, we can't beat him now." The guard came behind Sima Lai and saw that he was looking in the direction that Sima Yue had left. He thought that he was still unresigned. "I know," Sima Lai said. "Let everyone pack up and leave." "Yes, General." Very quickly, the noisy mountain valley quieted down. Only the corpses of the spirit beasts that had died in the chaotic battle were left lying there. It wasn't that those who had left didn't have any ideas about these corpses, but those spirit beasts had always hated humans taking away corpses. Even if it wasn't their own kind, they wouldn't allow it under these circumstances. Now that there were many spirit beasts, although those people had some ideas, they still left in the end. Sima Yue sat on Little Rock and flew towards the outside. She sat on his back and looked down. Under the moonlight, the scenery of Pu Luo mountain range was not bad. After leaving the mountain valley, Immerse retracted his power and said, "I'm going back. My soul has always been unstable. Now that I'm injured, I won't be able to lend you any power in the near future." Hearing Immerse's weak voice, Sima Yue asked worriedly, "How are you? Is it very serious?" "It's nothing. I'll be fine after absorbing the gas released by the golden snake fruit." Immerse said, "The next time I come out, this situation won't happen again." "Then do you want to eat a golden snake fruit?" Sima Yue asked. "No need. I can't eat it either. My current soul can't withstand the violent energy from the golden snake fruit." Immerse said, "If you want me to recover faster, it's not like there's no way." "What way?" "Concoct pills." Immerse said, "As long as you can concoct pills that are beneficial to the soul, I'll be able to recover faster. How can I concoct dark pills? Sima Yue was originally excited when she heard that there was a way, but now that she heard him mention dark pills, she said discouragingly, "Did you forget about your physique?" Mo Sha said, "Light devil physique?" Sima Yue didn't understand. What did this have to do with concocting dark pills? People with a devil physique can absorb dark spiritual energy. As long as you have dark spiritual energy, you can inject it when you're congealing the pill, and it'll become a dark pill. Mo Sha said, I can even absorb dark spiritual energy? Sima Yue said in shock. Then what level of pill would be useful to you? At least 6th level. Mo Sha said, you can only concoct 1st level pills now. If you want to concoct pills that will be useful to me, it's still too early. Sima Yue rubbed her nose and said, back then, you were willing to come out and teach me how to concoct pills with this goal in mind, right? She knew it. Back then, when he felt that she had a light devil physique, why would he be willing to expose their contractual relationship? He even enthusiastically taught her how to concoct pills. So it was because he wanted her to concoct dark pills that would be useful to him in the future. Chapter 88. Mo Sha didn't deny it, because he was initially willing to teach her alchemy with this goal in mind. I'm going back. The news that the person who snatched the golden snake fruit has a 4-winged rock will definitely spread very quickly. You better put it away and go out by yourself. In any case, with your current strength, no one will suspect you. After Mo Sha finished speaking, he entered the spirit pearl and arrived beside the golden snake fruit. Little Spirit had already planted the golden snake fruit in a large flower pot. Although it seemed that the golden snake fruit had just experienced a change of location, it did not suffer any harm. I specially planted this in a pot. Little Spirit appeared beside Mo Sha and said, this needs to absorb moonlight at night to transform into her own energy. This way, it'll be more convenient for her to take it out in the future. Amen. Your consideration is not bad. Mo Sha nodded. His soul floated to the side of the golden snake fruit tree and sat down. He closed his eyes and began to meditate. Seeing this, Little Spirit disappeared without a sound, just like how he had appeared without a sound. After Mo Sha left, Sima Yue asked Little Rock to choose a place to land before keeping him into her spirit pearl. Mo Sha was right. The news of her leaving on the 4-winged rock might have already spread back to Yin City. If she were to return on it, she was afraid that it would attract unnecessary trouble. If she removed her disguise, a spirit master wouldn't attract any attention. Since she was already in the middle region, there wasn't much danger for her. Hugging Little Roar in her arms, she chose a towering tree and climbed up the branches in a few moments. She chose a thicker branch and laid down to sleep for the night. When the first ray of light shone on her face, she woke up. With a single leap, she landed on the ground and dusted off her hands. After letting Little Roar determine the direction of the outer perimeter, she hurried on her way. After walking for half a day, she met some people who were also leaving. Although they did not connect her with the person from last night, they were still surprised that she was walking alone in the central region. Sima Yue ignored their stares. She was not interested in them and was too lazy to strike up a conversation with them. While they were on their way, she contacted Yiguang and found out that they weren't too far away. She planned to leave together with them. Little Roar had been lying on Sima Yue's shoulder the entire time and did not walk on his own. However, after chatting with it, Sima Yue also felt that the journey was not too far. Master, save me. Sima Yue was joking with Little Roar when she suddenly heard Yiguang's cry for help. Yiguang, what's wrong? Sima Yue asked anxiously. Master, come quickly. We can't hold on any longer. Come quickly. Sima Yue was shocked by Yiguang's sudden silence. She was relieved when she felt the connection with Yiguang. Little Roar. Sima Yue shouted. Yu, come up. Little Roar's body grew bigger until it was big enough for Sima Yue to sit on. Then, he carried her and started running. Fortunately, they were not too far apart from each other. About half an hour later, she could smell the thick scent of blood and a faint fragrance in the air. Yu, I don't have any strength left. Little Roar suddenly said. Little Roar, what's wrong? Sima Yue felt that something was wrong with Little Roar and asked. Yu, the air is strange. It's as if all the strength in my body has been sucked out. Little Roar stopped and his eyes were a little blurred. Sima Yue felt that she was not far from Yaguang's position. She could even hear the faint sounds of fighting. The place of battle should not be far ahead. Little Roar, go back first. Leave the rest to me. Sima Yue came down and kept Little Roar in the Spirit Pearl. She let Little Spirit take care of him and quickly ran forward. Suddenly, she found a few people hiding in front of her. Looking at their appearance, they should be in front of her. Boss, I never thought that these people would be able to hold on for so long under the snake's attack. They are only relying on Bei Gong Tang to hold on. As long as she falls, the other three will not be a problem. No matter what, they are dead for sure this time. Haha, boss is wise. You actually thought of luring them to the snake's territory. The man who was called Boss snorted and said, I never thought that the wolf pack would not be able to kill them last time and would actually meet them here. It's a pity that Sima Yue is not here. Otherwise, we would really be able to catch them all in one fell swoop. Boss, since they are all here, then Sima Yue must be nearby too. As long as we take care of these 4 people, that trash will be at your mercy. Sima Yue quietly approached them and heard their words clearly. She laughed coldly in her heart. She knew that there was something fishy about the Flame Wolf Pack last time. It turned out that someone was playing tricks. With a thought, a jade bottle appeared in her hand. She opened the lid and threw the bottle in the middle of the group. One of the people who was watching Bei Gong Tang's stubborn resistance heard the commotion and turned his head to see what was going on. However, he found that Sima Yue was standing not far away and was looking at them with a cold aura. Sima Yue, when did you get behind us? That person shouted out in surprise. Hearing that person's voice, the others also turned around. One of them was the person who was chased by the wolf pack. So it was you guys who played tricks at that time. Sima Yue stared at them, her eyes filled with undisguised killing intent. These people were all intimidated by her aura. Was this really the aura of a trash? Sima Yue, what do you want? Hearing the sounds of fighting in front, Sima Yue glanced over and happened to see Bei Gong Tang being sent flying by the snake's tail. She panicked and said, You'll know what I want in a moment. Are you still thinking of saving them? That boss looked at Sima Yue. Initially, we only wanted to kill you secretly. Since you found out, then we can only send you directly to hell. Then we'll see if you have the ability to do so. Sima Yue walked around them after she finished speaking and ran towards the empty space in front. Those people wanted to attack her, but they found that they couldn't move at some point in time. Bei Gong Tang was hit by the snake's tail and flew out heavily, landing on the ground and kicking up a lot of dust. Puff! Dash! There was a fishy taste in her throat, and she spat out a mouthful of blood. The blood that she spat out on the ground was still mixed with bits and pieces. Bei Gong, leave quickly. Don't bother about us anymore. Wei Ziqi lay on the ground and shouted at Bei Gong Tang. Bei Gong Tang wanted to crawl up from the ground, but failed twice. She supported herself with one hand on the ground and the other on her chest. Her face was pale as she looked at the snake in front of her and said weakly, Since you guys said that we were a team, then I can't leave you guys behind. What a stubborn girl. It's a pity that I don't like people like you. That snake swung its tail and looked at Bei Gong Tang. I didn't think that you would be able to pester me for so long. Now, I'll send you to hell. Don't worry. You won't feel the pain of death when I hit you with my tail. After it finished speaking, it raised its tail high and was about to land on Bei Gong Tang's body. Chapter 89. Bei Gong Run. Wei Ziqi and the other two saw the scene in front of them, and their eyes turned red as they anxiously shouted. Bei Gong Tang helplessly looked at the huge tail that was falling toward her. She had already experienced how powerful it was just now. If she was hit by it again, she would really have to meet the King of Hell. But she couldn't move. Her leg had just been broken, and now it was difficult for her to move. She had no choice but to close her eyes and wait for the final verdict. Mengji, I'm sorry. I can't wait for you to wake up. Mother, little brother, I'm sorry. I can't keep my promise and go back to see you. However, the expected pain did not come. Instead, he heard a clanging sound, followed by the sound of the snake's tail hitting the ground. You wet. A surprised voice entered Bei Gongtang's ears. She opened her eyes and saw Sima Yoyue's resolute back. The weapon in her hand was actually a frying pan. Sima Yue turned to look at her and said, Bei Gong, I'm here. If it wasn't for the fact that the weapon in her hand was too comical, Bei Gongtang would definitely feel that Sima Yue was very cool at this moment. Unfortunately, that comical weapon really ruined her image. Sima Yue saw that Bei Gongtang's gaze had landed on the frying pan in her hand. She smiled and said, It was an emergency, so I had to make do with it. Towards the frying pan in her hand, she was also speechless. When she came over, she saw that the snake was about to hit Bei Gongtang's body. She didn't have time to think and immediately summoned Ling Long. However, she didn't expect that Ling Long was coincidentally transforming into a frying pan and was taken out by her. She had never used a frying pan to save a person before, and she had never done it again. Ling Long was extremely resentful towards Sima Yoyue's disdain. Her image had been ruined by her. Only when everyone woke up from their stupor did they realize what was going on. Yue, leave quickly. This is the snake's territory. As long as you smell its scent, all men will lose their strength. Bei Gongtang shouted anxiously. Sima Yue glanced at the snake that was writhing on the ground in pain after being hit by her 7 inches. The injured Bei Gongtang, Wei Ziqi, Yiguang, and the others who were not injured but were lying limp on the ground. Sima Yue finally understood why they were defeated by this snake that had just become a saint beast. Sima Yue bent down and carried Bei Gongtang, carrying her to Wei Ziqi and the others. She took out a bottle of pills and handed it to her, saying, Can you still eat pills by yourself? Bei Gongtang nodded and grabbed her hand, saying, Yue, you're not a girl. You'll be poisoned soon. Take advantage of the fact that the snake hasn't come yet and leave quickly. That's right, Yue. Hurry and leave. Fatty Chu was paralyzed on Yiguang's body as he looked at Sima Yue and said. Although Wei Ziqi and Ouyang Fei did not say anything, the way they looked at her had already expressed their intentions clearly. Damned human, I'm going to kill you. The snake regained its strength and stuck out its tongue at Sima Yue. The 7 inches of the snake's body was the weakest part. After being hit by her ruthlessly, it took a while for it to regain its strength. Yue, Bei Gongtang pushed Sima Yue, urging her to leave quickly. Sima Yue patted her hand, saying, Don't worry, those things are useless to me. After she finished speaking, she picked up the frying pan that she had lost and stood up. She stood in front of the few people and faced the snake. I never knew that there was a snake like you. Male animals can't do anything to you, allowing you to live until now. This young master wants to drink snake soup today. Why don't you contribute to it? In response to Sima Yue's provocation, the snake laughed coldly, saying, What an arrogant brat. You've already been here for so long and will soon lose your strength like the other males. You're still so arrogant even now. Sima Yue held the frying pan in her hand tightly, saying, I already said that your things are useless to me. If not, why haven't I lost my strength until now? Impossible. The snake was very confident in its own abilities. Seeing that Sima Yue was not paralyzed, it was a little doubtful. What's impossible about it? Sima Yue laughed. When did I say that I was a man? After she finished speaking, she took advantage of Yi Huan's days and rushed over. The sacred beast was not something that she could deal with alone. She had to take advantage of its unprepared state and attack its 7 inches. Only then would she have a chance of winning. The snake reacted quickly and swung its tail, attacking Sima Yue. Sima Yue dodged to the left and skillfully avoided the attack. She even took the opportunity to take a few steps forward, shortening the distance between her and the snake. Fatty Chu and the rest were also stunned by Sima Yue's last sentence. They stared blankly at her fighting the snake, their minds still echoing with her words. When did I say that I'm a man? If she wasn't a man, could she be a woman? The four of them did not believe it. However, she was not hurt by the snake's fragrance and still had the strength to fight it. She was up and down, jumping left and right. It was obvious that she was still very energetic. Thus, everyone quickly accepted this shocking fact. Sima Yue was actually a woman. Level 5 Spiritual Master. Before the shock from the previous wave of shock had subsided, Sima Yue used her spiritual energy to let them know her true abilities. Once again, she gave them a huge shock. Am I seeing things? Fatty Chu wanted to stretch out his hand to rub his eyes, but found that he could not move. He could only use all his strength to blink his eyes, trying to see if he was seeing things. I really did not expect that Yu's abilities had already reached the level of a level 5 spiritual master. Wei Ziqi sighed. A level 5 spiritual master against a sacred beast. Ouyang Fei did not finish his sentence, but everyone understood what he meant. Spiritual knights, spiritual masters, and great spiritual masters could fight against low-grade spiritual beasts. High-grade, great spiritual masters, spiritual kings, and spiritual overlords could fight against sacred beasts. Now that this snake was already a level 1 sacred beast, only a great spiritual master could fight against it. And Sima Yue was only a level 5 spiritual master. If she wanted to defeat a sacred beast, the result was obvious. I believe that Yue is not an impulsive person. Since she can stand up, there shouldn't be a problem. Fatty Chu looked at Sima Yue's back with a resolute gaze. He did not know when it started, but he had a lot of trust in her. I believe in her too, Beigong Tang said. After eating the pill that Sima Yue gave her, the pain in her chest had subsided quite a bit, and her voice was not as weak as before. Yue has given us quite a shock today. However, it is almost impossible for a spiritual master to defeat a sacred beast. Wei Ziqi said. Who knows? She might be able to create a miracle. Beigong Tang looked straight at Sima Yue. She believed that Sima Yue was not speaking without thinking. When she was talking to her just now, she saw Yue's confident gaze. That gaze made her believe that she would definitely create a miracle today. Ouyang Fei looked at Sima Yue. He also wanted to believe that she could defeat that snake, but the difference in their levels was too big. Could she really create a miracle? Chapter 90. Sima Yue did not know what the people behind her were thinking. However, she did not have the time to think about other things. She had to focus on dealing with the snake in front of her. Now, the Yaguang and Little Roar could not help her. She could only rely on herself to deal with the snake. However, it was just as the others thought. Normally, only a high-level Great Spirit Master could contend against a sacred beast. She was an entire level away from it. If she wanted to deal with it, she had to find another method. The only thing she could rely on now was speed. In her previous life, she deeply understood the principle that only speed could not be defeated in the world of martial arts. Therefore, when she came to this world, when she was training her body, she was also thinking of ways to recover her previous skills. When the snake saw that Sima Yue was more agile than its tail, it got even angrier. It swung its tail even faster, forcing Sima Yue to increase her speed. Several times, she was hit by the snake's tail and fell heavily to the ground. There was a burning sensation on her back. When she moved her left hand, she felt a piercing pain. Based on her experience in her previous life, she knew that she had at least 2 broken ribs. We can't let this drag on. We have to end this quickly. Sima Yue could feel the strength in her body depleting rapidly. She was running out of spiritual energy as well. If this continued, she would definitely lose. Therefore, when the snake came at her again, she didn't choose to dodge. Instead, she moved her body slightly to the side. Taking advantage of the time when the snake retreated, she hugged it and smashed it with the frying pan. When Beigong Tang and the others saw that Sima Yue was actually hugging the snake, they were still worried about her. When they saw that she was actually waving the frying pan and hitting the snake nonstop, they didn't know whether to laugh or cry. If it wasn't for the fact that the situation wasn't right now, they would have laughed out loud. If they could survive today, this scene would definitely become a memory they would remember for the rest of their lives. Although Sima Yue had turned into a frying pan, its power was definitely not something an ordinary frying pan could compare to. Even if a spirit beast had thick and tough skin, its flesh would still be torn apart by Sima Yue. Roar! Despicable humans! The snake waved its tail in pain. Sima Yue hugged the snake's tail and clamped her legs tightly around the snake's body to prevent herself from being thrown off. Die! The snake raised its tail and prepared to throw Sima Yue to the ground. Sima Yue saw that her position was just right and let go of the snake's tail. Landing on the snake's 7 inches away, she tilted her body and blocked the line of sight of Wei Ziqi and the others. The dagger in her hand turned into a dagger and fiercely pierced into the snake's body. With its lifeline injured, the snake's body bent like a bow. Sima Yue clamped the snake between her legs, held the dagger with both hands, and stabbed the rest of the dagger into the snake's body. Then, she pulled the dagger down forcefully, and a wound that was tens of centimeters long appeared on the snake's back. The snake was dancing on the ground. Sima Yue, who had used up all her strength, was thrown out violently. She fell to the ground and stopped moving. Yue! Yue! Bei Gongtang and the others were stunned by the sudden turn of events. When they saw Sima Yue lying motionless on the ground, they shouted anxiously. Hiss! Ao! The snake was still dancing on the ground, but its movements were gradually decreasing. Finally, it laid on the ground and stopped moving. Yue, are you all right? Bei Gongtang looked at the motionless figure on the ground, and her eyes turned red for the first time since they met. But no matter how much they called out, Sima Yue did not respond at all. Yue, respond. Fatty Chu cried as he looked at Sima Yue. He could not wait to run over. No way. Yue would not die like this. Wei Ziqi shook his head and muttered, Why are you panicking? Ye Guang is still breathing. This means that Yue is still alive. At the crucial moment, Ouyang Fei still had a trace of rationality. Seeing Ye Guang under Fatty Chu, he reminded them, Is she okay? Fatty Chu looked coldly at Ouyang Fei. Feeling the breathing under his body, his heart finally calmed down. Fighting with a holy beast-ranked snake and seeing her on the ground, it was no wonder that everyone thought she was dead. Cough, cough. After a while, a light cough was heard. To the 4 of them, it was like the sound of nature. Yue, how are you? Sima Yue moved her body. Her whole body was in pain. With a thought, a pill appeared in her hand. She swallowed the pill with much difficulty before turning her head to face Wei Ziqi and the rest. I'm fine. Seeing Sima Yue's tired but bright eyes, the 4 of them finally relaxed. As long as she was alive, she would be fine. After resting for more than an hour, Wei Ziqi and the rest felt their strength returning. Ouyang Fei was the first to regain consciousness. He slowly struggled to get up and walked shakily to Sima Yue's side, reaching out to hug Sima Yue. SSSSS. Sima Yue's body moved, and she gasped in pain. Were you in pain? Ouyang Fei saw that Sima Yue was in pain and did not dare to move. He hugged Sima Yue and sat on the ground. Cough, cough. I don't think many of my ribs are in good condition. The other parts of my body are also injured quite badly. Sima Yue said. Ouyang Fei supported Sima Yue with one hand. With a thought, a pill appeared in his hand. 4th rank pill. Sima Yue looked at the pill in Ouyang Fei's hand and was extremely shocked. How did he have such a precious pill? Ouyang Fei did not say anything and directly fed the pill to Sima Yue, not allowing her to reject. Wei Ziqi and the rest had also regained their strength. He came to Bei Gongtang's side and asked, How are you? I'm fine. It's just that my leg is broken and I can't walk. Bei Gongtang said. Wei Ziqi pulled open Bei Gongtang's pants and saw that her leg was swollen. I'll find a rod to tie it up for you, Fatty Chu said as he crawled up. Fatty, wait a moment. Sima Yue leaned into Ouyang Fei's embrace and said, Let's leave this place first. It'll be troublesome if we attract other spirit beasts. Right, let's leave this place first. Wei Ziqi said, Bei Gong, I'll carry you. I'll bandage you later. Bei Gongtang nodded. At this moment, She did not care about the difference between men and women. Sima Yue called Yiguang back and called Little Roar out to make him bigger. Yu, how did you get hurt so badly? Little Roar saw the injuries on Sima Yue's body and said with a sobbing tone, "It's all Little Roar's fault. He dropped the ball at the most crucial moment. I don't blame you. Become a little bigger. You have to be big enough for 10 people. Sit." Sima Yue said as she shook her head. Okay. Little Roar's body shook and became even bigger. It was not a problem for 10 people to lie on top of him. Yue, why do you need space for 10 people? Fatty Chu did not understand. Sima Yue looked into the distance, and her eyes flashed coldly. Because we need to bring a few enemies with us. Chapter 91. The person who lured us here? Fatty Chu asked. Yes. They have already been drugged by me and are lying there. Sima Yue said. Yue, not only did you appear to save us, you even captured those people. I really admire you. Fatty Chu said. Let's go. We'll bring those people along and leave this place. Ouyang Fei carried Sima Yue onto Little Roar's back and said to Fatty Chu, who was still below. Yes. Fatty Chu turned around and ran towards where the few of them were. Indeed, he saw the few of them lying on the ground. He took out a rope and tied them all up before throwing them onto Little Roar's back. After waiting for Fatty Chu to sit down, Little Roar brought everyone out of the place. An hour later, Little Roar found a cave and brought Sima Yue and the rest in. This place is not bad. Let's recuperate here. Sima Yue looked around and said. Fatty Chu was the first to jump down. He grabbed the 5 people, one in each hand, and casually threw them to the ground. After that, he cooperated with Wei Ziqi and Ouyang Fei to help bake Gong Tang and Sima Yue down. Sima Yue took out her own big bed as a place for her and Bei Gong Tang to recuperate. Wei Ziqi and Ouyang Fei carried the 2 of them onto the bed. Ziqi, I can't move right now. Let me talk to you. Help Bei Gong connect his bones first. Sima Yue said. Yue, you know how to set bones? Fatty Chu looked at Sima Yue in astonishment. Based on my previous experience, Sima Yue said, and 2 wooden boards appeared in her hands. Fix it with this after you're done. And you tell me I'll do it. Wei Ziqi took the wooden board and said. After that, Sima Yue instructed Wei Ziqi to fix Bei Gong Tang's leg. After that, she asked them to go out and take off their clothes so that Bei Gong Tang could fix her bones. Outside the cave, Fatty Chu and the rest finally remembered the secret they had discovered today. Yue is really a girl? Fatty Chu still hadn't completely accepted this fact. If other people knew that Yue is a girl, the entire capital would be shocked. Wei Ziqi and the rest were also unsure. They had always thought that Sima Yue was a man. Now that she was a woman, they needed time to digest this fact. Since the people of the general's residence have always let her disguise as a man, there must be some secret. I think it's better if we don't tell anyone. Ouyang Fei said. I think so too. Wei Ziqi said. For over 10 years, no one has known that Yue is a girl. It can be seen that the general's residence has kept this matter a secret. If Yue wanted others to know, she would naturally say it. Since she didn't say it, there must be some unavoidable reason. You're right. We shouldn't say it out, in case it brings trouble to her. Fatty Chu nodded in agreement. However, Yue is already a 5th-level spirit master. It's really surprising. Indeed, Ouyang Fei nodded. The few of them chatted at the entrance of the cave. After a while, Bei Gong Tang informed them that everything was done and they could go in. Fatty Chu and the rest went in and saw Sima Yue lying on the bed. Her right cheek had been scratched by a rock during the fight, and there was a long cut. After the blood was cleaned, it looked even more striking. Yue, your injury? Wei Ziqi asked. It's fine. I'll be fine after lying down for 2 days. Sima Yue said. I'm saying the injury on your face. Will it leave a scar? Wei Ziqi said. If it was a guy, it wouldn't matter. However, the female lead paid more attention to her appearance. If her face was ruined, it would be the same as crippling her strength. Sima Yue blinked her eyes and understood Wei Ziqi's words. She said, It's fine. When we get back, I'll make some scar removal ointment and apply it for a period of time. That's good. After Wei Ziqi finished speaking, the atmosphere in the cave became a little awkward. What's wrong with you guys? Sima Yue saw that the few of them were looking at her strangely and felt a little scared. Cough, cough. Yue, we suddenly found out that you were a girl. We haven't recovered yet, Fatty Chu said. But then again, if it weren't for what happened today, we wouldn't have found out that you were a girl. How did you dress up as a guy? Don't tell me it's the airport you mentioned before. Cough, cough. How could I be an airport? Sima Yue almost choked on Fatty Chu's words. The last time when they were looking at beauties, she had mentioned an airport. She didn't think that this guy would remember it. If you're not an airport, then why didn't we notice that you had this thing? After he finished speaking, Fatty Chu rubbed his chest. His action was rather wretched. F*CKU Fatty. SS, Sima Yue shouted. Because she used too much strength, it affected the injuries on her body. She was in so much pain that she sucked in a breath of cold air. Be careful. Bei Gong Tang sat by the bed and stretched out her hand to press down on Sima Yue. She then turned around and scolded. Fatty, Yue's body is full of injuries right now. There aren't many bones in her body that are in good condition. You're still provoking her. I'm just speaking the truth. Fatty Chu shrunk his neck, feeling wronged. He was just curious. How did this Sima Yue escape their sharp eyes? We're also rather curious. Wei Ziqi said as he sized up Sima Yue. Ouyang Fei stared at Sima Yue. His meaning was self-evident. Cough, cough. Yue, why don't you tell them? Otherwise, they'll keep staring at you. Bei Gong Tang said. She would not say that she was actually very curious as well. Sima Yue helplessly rolled her eyes, saying, If I don't say it, you guys probably won't give up. If those D*MN people think that I'm an airport, then it'll affect my image too much. It's this illusion ring on my hand. As long as I wear it, you guys will see my body as a man. After she finished speaking, she even took off the illusion ring. Her body seemed to have changed in an instant. Wei Ziqi and the others did not expect that Sima Yue would take off the illusion ring directly. A man immediately turned into a woman wearing a ***. Everyone was shocked. Sima Yue quickly put on the illusion ring again. The woman's body disappeared. In everyone's eyes, she was still dressed as a man. It was as if the woman just now did not exist. It's too magical. Fatty Chu cried out in surprise. There's actually a ring like this in this world. I thought that there were only interspatial rings. It's really magical. Wei Ziqi said, Where did you get this ring from? If there's a chance, let's go get one and wear it. Hearing this, Sima Yue was stunned. Wu Lingyu's figure flashed past her eyes. She also remembered that forceful kiss before he left. She did not know what that bad guy, who was shouting for her to grow up quickly, was doing now. Had he already forgotten about her? In a faraway palace, Wu Lingyu, who was reading a book, suddenly felt something. He looked out of the window as if he had sensed something. Little guy, you have to grow up quickly. Chapter 92. Yue, you're clearly a girl. Why did you dress up as a man? Fatty Chu asked. Sima Yuming pursed his lips, saying, I don't know either. Grandfather made me do this. He didn't tell me why. Don't worry, we've already discussed it. We won't tell anyone about you. The fact that you're a woman will never spread from our mouths. Yes, I know you won't. Sima Yue was certain that if they had such thoughts, she would not have saved them. Ugh! A murmur from the wall reminded Sima Yue of their presence. Who are these people? Why do they want to harm us? Wei Ziqi looked at the few people who had been thrown to the side and asked with a frown. Look at the person on the far right. Sima Yue said, The person on the far right? When that person was thrown down by Fatty Chu, his body was facing the wall, so no one noticed him. Hearing Sima Yue's words, Fatty Chu ran over and kicked that person, making him face upwards. It's him. Fatty Chu cried out in surprise. Fatty, you know him? Wei Ziqi asked. Not only do I know him, you guys know him as well. Fatty Chu moved to the side, allowing Wei Ziqi and the rest to see the face on the ground. It's him. How could it be him? Could it be? Seeing that person, the three of them were indeed surprised. They immediately thought of the incident with the wolf pack. At that time, they all felt that something was amiss. Now, it seemed that they had deliberately attracted the wolf pack. They actually tried to kill us again and again. Wei Ziqi clenched his fists tightly. His good upbringing prevented him from immediately rushing up to kill them. Who are these people? Why do you want to kill us? Ouyang Fei was puzzled. I think I know the reason, Fatty Chu said. You know? Bei Gongtang looked at Fatty Chu. How'd he know? Fatty Chu came to the side of that person and kicked him. He looked at that person's face and said, I know this guy. He's 1 year higher than us. People call him Skinny Monkey. So you're saying that these people are all from the sect? Wei Ziqi asked. Fatty Chu nodded, saying, this Skinny Monkey is Takeda's follower. I heard that Takeda is madly infatuated with Nailin Lan. So you're saying that they want to harm us because they want to take revenge for Nailin Lan because I chased her out of the sect. Sima Yu said, speaking of which, I've implicated you all. Don't say that. We're a team. There's no such thing as you not. If it weren't for you, we wouldn't have become food. Wei Ziqi said, calm, Yu. Since we know they're... Now, how should we deal with these people? Everyone fell silent at the mention of this. Since these people wanted to kill them, there was no need for them to spare their lives. However, now that he knew that they were from the academy's rules stated that they were not allowed to harm other students. Otherwise, they would be expelled. This greatly restricted their actions. Everyone turned their gaze to Sima Yu. Since they came because of her, she had the right to speak. Sima Yu smiled and said, I don't know any of these people. Since we met someone in Pu Luo mountain range who wanted to kill us, we naturally had to retaliate. We don't know who they are either, right? Hearing Sima Yu say this, everyone was stunned. Yes, we don't know any of these people. We don't even know which power they're from. We also don't know why they want to harm us. Bei Gongtang was the first to react and replied Sima Yu. There were so many people coming and going in Pu Luo mountain range. If they met someone who wanted to kill them, they would definitely retaliate. If they accidentally killed them, it would have nothing to do with the sect. After all, they didn't know their identities beforehand. Yes, we don't know them. Wei Ziqi nodded his head with certainty. Since that's the case, what should we do with these people who we don't know and want to kill us? Ouyang Fei asked. Sima Yu heard everyone say this and laughed in her heart. These guys were actually quite black-bellied. No matter what we do, we can't let them leave this mountain range alive. Bei Gongtang said, if there's no other way, I don't mind ending their lives personally. Why dirty our hands? Sima Yu said, since they know how to use spirit beasts to deal with us, we have to give them a taste of their own medicine. Yu, do you have any good ideas? Seeing Sima Yu's bright eyes, Fatty Chu knew that she didn't have any good ideas. This, you'll know when the time comes. Sima Yu didn't say anything and only smiled mysteriously. When the others saw this, they knew that she had an idea and didn't ask anymore. That Yu. After saying this, Bei Gongtang looked at Sima Yu and hesitated. Sima Yu immediately understood what she meant, and with a thought, a golden snake fruit appeared in her hand. She handed the golden snake fruit over and said, keep this first. The golden snake fruit can't be left outside for too long. Be careful not to attract spirit beasts. It really is the golden snake fruit. Fatty Chu looked at the golden fruit in surprise. Yu, how did you get it? Don't ask about this. Sima Yu stuffed the golden snake fruit into Bei Gongtang's hands, and Bei Gongtang kept it in her interspatial ring. Yu, thank you. Although Sima Yu didn't say it, they all knew that it wasn't easy. After all, there were so many spirit beasts and powers that were coveting this thing. Sima Yu looked at the other three and said, you all have a share too. However, if you let a person consume this golden snake fruit directly, the power will be too violent and the human body won't be able to handle it. I know a pill master who can refine it into pills. Do you all want the fruit or the pills now? Fatty Chu and the others thought for a while and said, since this fruit isn't suitable for humans to consume directly, I'll take the pills. I want the pills too. Wei Ziqi said. Ouyang Fei was silent for a while and said, I want the fruit. Sima Yue didn't ask why and took a fruit and handed it to Ouyang Fei. He took the fruit and kept it. Previously, she said that as long as they helped Bei Gong Tang scatter that thing on the Nailing Clan's people, she would share it with them, so they could have whatever they wanted. In any case, she had received the golden snake fruit tree. To her soul that was damaged, it was the greatest treasure. Furthermore, Little Spirit had just told her that it could create a space and speed up the flow of time there, reducing the time it took for the golden snake fruit to ripen. Who knows? She might have the golden snake fruit again soon. As for the pills, Mo Sha could help her settle it. She only needed to inject spiritual energy when she was condensing the pills. Seeing that Sima Yue was so generous, the other 4 people were very touched, and the team became even more cohesive. Chapter 93. Fatty, Ziqi, your pills will probably take some time to finish. Sima Yue said, It's all right, we're not in a hurry right now. Fatty Chu said, in their hearts, they didn't help much in this matter. Being able to get some rewards was already an unexpected surprise. If they could really obtain a pill that could increase their strength, it wouldn't be a problem to wait for a while. All right, Yu, what did you want us to throw at the Nailing Clan? Bei Gong Tang asked. Knockout powder, Sima Yue said. Once the smell is on your body, you can't wash it off even if you wash it off. What does it do? Ouyang Fei asked. Well, you'll know after we've recovered. Sima Yue smiled evilly. Since the people of the Nailan family went back to find trouble with the Sima family, then let them not go out. All right, Yue is injured and can't talk too much. Everyone is tired, so let's rest. Ouyang Fei said. Yes, because Sima Yue and Bei Gong Tang were sleeping on the bed. Ouyang Fei and the rest could only find a place to rest in the cave. They did not have a big bed, but they had brought along chairs and other things. The cave quickly quieted down. Due to the events of the day, everyone was very tired and quickly fell asleep. Sima Yue looked at Ouyang Fei's side profile and was confused. There weren't many grade 4 pills in the entire Dongqing country. He said that he was an orphan, so how could he have such a precious pill? And no matter how she looked at him, she felt that he was not an ordinary person. Although she had doubts in her heart, she didn't say anything. Just like how she had so many secrets, who didn't have things that others didn't want to know. The night passed quickly. The pills in Sima Yue's body took effect quickly. Coupled with her special physique, she was able to get out of bed and walk the next morning. Wow, Yue, your recovery ability is amazing. Seeing Sima Yue's appearance, everyone was so shocked that their jaws dropped. It's Ouyang's elixir pill that's effective. Sima Yue pushed all the blame to the elixir pill. How is Bei Gong? Ouyang Fei did not continue the topic of pills, but turned to ask Bei Gong Tang. Other than my leg still hurting a little, everything else is fine. Bei Gong Tang said with a smile. The pill that Sima Yue gave her wasn't a high grade, but she wasn't seriously injured, so it wasn't a big deal. Let's rest for another day and do other things tomorrow. Wei Ziqi looked at the few people by the wall and said. The matter he was talking about was naturally dealing with these people. You two rest first. We'll go find something to eat. Ouyang Fei said. No need, I have it. Sima Yue said. Then let's go get some water. Me too. Sima Yue said. Where's the firewood? Sima Yue wanted to say that she did, but she didn't want everyone to think that she was an omnipotent doryman, so she smiled and shook her head. Then let's go find some firewood. Ouyang Fei said as he went out. We'll be nearby. If anything happens, just shout and we'll be able to rush back. After speaking, Wei Ziqi and Fatty Chu also went out. What's up with them? Sima Yue looked at the 3 of them rushing out and looked at Bei Gong Tang, puzzled. Cough, cough. I think it's something that's not convenient to talk about. Bei Gong Tang said. Something that's not convenient to talk about? Then it's convenient? Sima Yue nodded her head in understanding. Humans have 3 needs. What's so difficult to talk about? Sima Yue despised the 3 of them in her heart. However, she didn't think that they would say such things in front of her when she was a guy. Now that she was a girl, they felt embarrassed. Bei Gong, we've already gotten the golden snake fruit. You should quickly let your contracted beast eat it. Sima Yue said. Bei Gong Tang nodded. With a thought, a green bird appeared in the cave. This is Qing Luan? Sima Yue looked at the transformed Meng Ji and asked in shock. Qing Luan belonged to the Phoenix clan. Her teacher had said that there were no phoenixes in the Yilin continent. However, Bei Gong Tang had actually contracted a Qing Luan. Did that mean that she wasn't from his continent? Bei Gong Tang turned a blind eye to the shock in Sima Yu's eyes and the understanding that followed. She knew that Sima Yu would know something when she saw Meng Ji, but she also believed that Sima Yu wouldn't say anything. Meng Ji. Bei Gong Tang called out a few times, and Meng Ji slowly opened its eyes. Master! Meng Ji's voice was a little weak. It seemed that her injuries weren't light. Thinking that Bei Gong Tang wouldn't call out to her for no reason, her eyes lit up. Master, you call me out. Could it be? Bei Gong Tang smiled as she took out the golden snake fruit and placed it in front of Meng Ji's mouth, saying, This golden snake fruit was snatched by Yue. We have to thank her. Meng Ji looked at Sima Yue, who was lying on the bed, and said gratefully, Thank you. Sima Yue waved her hand, saying, Your master has already promised to give her body to me. You don't have to thank me. Meng Ji heard and looked anxiously at Bei Gong Tang, saying, Master, how can you do this? If you have to use your life's happiness to exchange for this, Meng Ji would rather not. Seeing Meng Ji's reaction, Sima Yue laughed out loud. Meng Ji, Yue is just joking with you. Bei Gong Tang said with a smile, She's a girl. How can I give my life to her? All right, this golden snake fruit will attract spirit beasts if it's left outside for too long. Quickly eat it and go back to heal your injuries. Master, is she really a girl? Meng Ji looked at Sima Yue suspiciously. Why couldn't she tell that Sima Yue was a girl at all? She didn't even smell like one. All right, quickly eat it and go back. Sima Yue said, Not only is your body injured, even your soul is not lightly injured. That's why you haven't recovered after so long. Aside from increasing your strength, this golden snake fruit can also heal your soul. Why aren't you going back to heal? Meng Ji was extremely shocked. How did she know that her soul was injured? Even Bei Gong Tang didn't know about this. Your soul is injured? No wonder your injuries haven't healed after so long. Bei Gong Tang said, Since it's like this, I'll go back first. Meng Ji saw Bei Gong Tang's questioning gaze and returned to the contract space with the golden snake fruit in her mouth. Seeing Bei Gong Tang's anxious look, Sima Yue smiled, saying she didn't want to tell you because she was afraid that you would be worried. Anyway, with the golden snake fruit, I believe that she will be fine very quickly. You don't have to worry. Yue, how did you know that Meng Ji's soul was injured? Bei Gong Tang asked. Because I have the fiery eyes of truth, Sima Yue said with a smile. She wouldn't say that it was Imo Sha who told her, so she could only change the topic and ask, Oh right, why aren't those 3 guys back yet? Just as she finished speaking, she heard the sound of footsteps. That sound was clearly coming from the direction of the cave. However, it wasn't the 3 of them. There were a few more people. Bei Gong Tang also heard that the footsteps weren't right. The 2 of them looked at the entrance of the cave vigilantly. Chapter 94. The footsteps were getting closer and closer. Sima Yue had already taken out a handful of medicinal powder and placed it in Bei Gong Tang's hands. The 2 of them were still injured, and their fighting strength had decreased a lot. If they really encountered bad people, they could still save them for a while. The cave that Little Roar had found could be considered hidden, but the sound of footsteps could be heard coming towards the cave. He did not hear Ouyang Fei and the others' cries for help, which meant that the person who came was much stronger than them. That was why they did not even have the time to call for help. Right now, it had only been 2 days since the incident with the golden snake fruit. Perhaps there were some powers that had yet to leave and were wandering around the mountains, coincidentally meeting Fatty Chu and the others, just as the 2 of them were guessing. Those people finally arrived at the cave. We're back. Fatty Chu's round body appeared at the entrance of the cave, followed by Ouyang Fei and Wei Ziqi. Seeing that the 3 of them had no external injuries, the 2 of them relaxed and asked, Are you guys all right? Before Fatty Chu could finish his sentence, he was lifted up from behind and placed aside. Following that, a few unexpected figures appeared in front of Sima Yue, causing her to cry out involuntarily. Third brother, fourth brother, why are you here? Fifth brother, I heard that you were injured. Quick, let third bro take a look. Sima Yuran quickly came to Sima Yoyue's side. He wanted to touch her, but was afraid of hurting her. Third bro, I'm fine now. Sima Yue grabbed Sima Yuran's hand and tried to calm him down. Fifth bro, what happened? How did you get injured so badly? Sima Yulu walked over, his eyes filled with worry and anger. I'll tell you later. Sima Yue said, You haven't answered me yet. Why are you here? We're here to gain experience. Sima Yulu said, It just so happens that both of our teams are going to Pu Luo mountain range, so we'll go together. It was only then that Sima Yue realized that apart from the two of them, there were a few other people standing outside the cave. It looked like they were Sima Yuran's classmates. All right, now tell me, how did you get injured? Sima Yuran looked at Sima Yue, saying, That brat Chu just said that all the bones in your body were broken yesterday. How did you get injured so badly? This fatty Chu, didn't he know that their family's brothers were all brother-obsessed? He even dared to tell them that all the bones in his body were broken. Sima Yue glared fiercely at Fatty Chu, then looked at the 5 people who were still unconscious and said, It's them. They lured us into the territory of the ferocious beasts. You don't know how many wolves there were. They scared us to death. It's these people. Sima Yuran looked coldly at these people, as if they were already a pile of corpses. Yes, that's them. Sima Yue said, I'm going to kill them. Sima Yulu stood up and took out his sword to kill those people. Fourth brother, calm down. Sima Yu pulled on Sima Yulu, saying, These 5 people cannot die in our hands. Why? Everyone was puzzled. Because they are from a sect. Sima Yue explained what had happened, but she did not mention the snake incident. Instead, she said that the wolf pack incident was related to this incident. Too despicable. Sima Yulu angrily went up and kicked those people a few times. Then what do you plan to do? Sima Yuran naturally noticed the loopholes in Sima Yoyue's words. For example, why did they capture these people? Why did only she and Bei Gongtang get injured and so on? However, since there were outsiders present, he did not expose her and went along with her words. Of course, we'll give them a taste of their own medicine. Sima Yue said, They threw us into the wolf pack, so we can let them experience the same thing. We're lucky to have survived, but whether or not they can survive will depend on their own abilities. Brothers and sisters, you won't reveal this matter, right? Pu Luo Mountain Range has always been a place where spirit beasts run rampant. Encountering a few spirit beasts is a normal thing. A girl wearing a red robe said, That's right. The others agreed. Seeing the anger in their eyes, they must be disgusted by the shameless actions of these people. Since you want to do this, then do it. Sima Yuran ruffled Sima Yoyue's hair, messing it up. Sima Yue slapped his hand away, saying, Third brother, fourth brother, are you here to complete mission? We've already completed our mission and will return tomorrow. You can go ahead and complete your mission first. Don't think of chasing us away. Sima Yuran said, We've already completed our mission last night and are preparing to return. We can wait for you to recover before we leave. That's not good. We can't let the other brothers and sisters wait. Sima Yue said, No problem. 1 or 2 more days won't matter. Those people said. Sima Yue could tell that her 2 brothers were the core members of these 2 teams. If they said that they would not leave, the others would not say anything. All right. She buried her head in the pillow. It seemed that they would not leave on their own. Those people knew that Sima Yue and her 2 brothers had just met and definitely had something to say, so they all left. Even Bei Gongtang found an excuse to get Ouyang Fei and the others to bring her out. Seeing that there was no one in the cave, Sima Yuran asked, Tell me, what happened to your injury? I knew I couldn't hide it from you. Look at fourth brother. He didn't find anything wrong. Sima Yue said with pursed lips, You're still talking. Sima Yuran slapped Sima Yue's head. If it weren't for them, I would have slapped you twice. You even lied to your brothers. Aya, I didn't lie to you guys on purpose. Sima Yue looked at Sima Yulu pitifully, hoping that he would speak up for her. However, Sima Yulu did not stand on her side this time. He turned his head to the side and refused to look at her. All right, tell me honestly. What happened to your injury? Sima Yuran said with a straight face. All right. Sima Yue told them about the wolf pack and the snake incident. After that, she looked at Sima Yuran and the others with grievance. Your teammates were there just now? I couldn't let them know that I was a girl, so I could only make it up. Furthermore, this isn't considered making it up. The Wolfpack incident was indeed caused by them. These people. Sima Yulu clenched his fists so tightly that his knuckles turned white. It was only then that he resisted the urge to kill them. So you're saying that your teammates all know that you're a girl? Sima Yuran's attention was on this point. If they said it out, it would be troublesome. Third brother, don't worry. They said that they won't say it out. Sima Yue said, I trust them. I trust that you won't act rashly now. Sima Yuran said, you should recuperate today. We'll head to Salt City tomorrow. Grandfather is still waiting for us there. Grandfather hasn't gone back yet? Sima Yue asked. The moment she said this, she realized that something was wrong. However, it was too late. Sima Yuran, who had just calmed down, stared at her with a straight face. It's over. I can't escape this time. Sima Yue cried in her heart. Chapter 95. How did you know that grandfather would come here? Sima Yuran stared at Sima Yu. That gaze made her heart flutter. Well, I saw it that day. Sima Yue grinned and said, Third brother, didn't you come here a long time ago? How did you know that Grandpa was here? We met Grandpa yesterday morning. He said that he would stay in Yin City for a few more days. If we can get out, we will go and look for him. Sima Yuran said, Don't try to change the topic. Grandfather didn't say that he met you in the mountains yesterday, which means that he didn't know you were here. Tell me, where did you see Grandpa? Did you secretly run off to steal the golden snake fruit? Seeing the way Sima Yuran was acting, Sima Yu buried her head into the pillow, saying, I just went to take a look. It's a very, very far place. I didn't go over. Do you think I believe you? Sima Yuran knew that Sima Yu was not far away when he saw her like that. When Sima Yulu heard that Sima Yu had actually gone to snatch the golden snake fruit, he immediately cried out, Fifth bro, how could you go to such a dangerous place? Don't you know that this thing has attracted many powers and spirit beasts? It's such a dangerous place, and you actually want to watch the fun. You really, if Grandpa finds out, you'll see how he'll deal with you this time. Hearing Sima Yuli's words, Sima Yu immediately raised her head. Third elder brother, fourth elder brother, you have to keep this a secret from me. You can't let Grandpa know about this. Sima Yue looked at the two of them bitterly. She blinked her eyes and started to act cute. If it was in the past, she would definitely feel very uncomfortable doing such an action. But now, perhaps because she was facing her family, she didn't feel uncomfortable at all. How can we hide such a big matter from you? Sima Yuran reprimanded her coldly. Do you know what would happen to us if something happened to you? How sad would Grandpa be? I was wrong. Sima Yue admitted her mistake sincerely. No matter what the reason was, it was not valid in the face of his family's worries. It's good that you know you were wrong. Sima Yulu saw Sima Yu being reprimanded by Sima Yuran with a cold expression and felt a little sorry for her, so he spoke up for her. That's right, third brother. Don't be angry. I just want to take a look out of curiosity. I won't do it again. Sima Yue sounded sincere. She almost patted her chest and promised. Sima Yuran was not as easy to talk to as Sima Yulu. His expression remained cold. Sima Yulu winked at Sima Yu and she immediately understood. She pulled on Sima Yuran's sleeve and shook it. Third brother, I really know I was wrong. Don't be angry. When you get angry, my little heart trembles. Ouch, my wound hurts again. Fifth bro, where does it hurt? Sima Yulu asked anxiously. Sigh, it hurts everywhere. Sima Yue complained. You're awake. I know you're faking it. Sima Yuran looked at Sima Yue helplessly. Why did this guy feel even more shameless than before? We don't have to tell grandfather about this. But if you dare to act this way again, let alone tell grandfather, I'll punish you first. Knowing that Sima Yuran said this, the matter was over. Sima Yue giggled and said, I won't do it again. After speaking, she added a sentence in her heart. I won't let you know next time. If Sima Yuran knew what she was thinking, he would definitely be angered to death. All right, let's continue to recuperate today. We'll see how your body is tomorrow. If it doesn't work out, we'll wait for another day. We'll go out and discuss the itinerary with them. Sima Yuran said as he walked out. Sima Yulil walked behind him. He turned around and made an okay gesture to Sima Yue before turning around to leave. Sima Yue buried her face in the pillow once again. She lamented in her heart how she had made such a stupid mistake. However, she felt warm because of her family's concern. After Sima Yuran and Sima Yue left, Wei Ziqi supported Bei Gongtang in. The relationship between the five of them changed slightly because of her identity. At the very least, Bei Gongtang would talk to her like a girl. Although she was still lying on the bed today, her wounds were healing at a speed that was visible to the naked eye. On the next day, Sima Yue did not want to delay everyone's journey. She ignored the pain in her bones and insisted on setting off. Sima Yuran could not change her mind and could only let them set off. However, before they left the mountain range, they had a few things to settle. Yu, do you want to wake them up now? Fatty Chu asked. If they don't wake up, how can this be considered fair? Sima Yue said as she took out a bottle of medicine and threw it to Fatty Chu. Put this under their noses and let them smell it. Fatty Chu did as he was told. After they smelled the medicine, they woke up not long after. Sima Yue? Leader Wu Tian saw Sima Yue and his dazed mind immediately woke up. It's me. Looks like I'm awake. Sima Yue said, You haven't eaten for a few days. You must be very weak, right? What do you want to do? Skinny Monkey saw the evil smile on Sima Yue's face and suddenly felt a chill in his heart. A chill rose from the bottom of his heart. Nothing much. I just want to learn from you guys. Sima Yue said, This antidote won't be able to recover your strength in a short period of time. The timing is just right. Fatty Chu, be careful. Don't get it on yourself. Otherwise, don't blame us for abandoning you. Fatty Chu took the bottle and sprinkled some on their bodies, saying, Don't worry, I won't be so stupid. After sprinkling the powder on the five of them, everyone walked out of the cave. What did you guys do to us? Wu Tian shouted loudly at Sima Yue as the fear of the unknown filled his heart. Everyone else had already left. Fatty Chu turned around and said, Didn't I say that I wanted to learn from you guys? Now you guys can properly experience the feeling of being favored by spirit beasts. After speaking, he left without looking back. Not long after Sima Yue and the others left, a few spirit beasts followed the smell and came to the cave. When they saw Wu Tian and the others, they attacked them like crazy. Very quickly, the five of them were dealt with cleanly. Not even a bone was left. Yu, what did you sprinkle on them? When they were far away from the cave, they could still hear the final screams of Wu Tian and the others. Sima Yulil went beside Sima Yue and asked, It's nothing much. It's just some powder to attract spirit beasts. Sima Yue said, How did you get that? Sima Yuran asked, I bought it before I came. Because there were outsiders present, Sima Yue casually said. Although these people were her two brothers' teammates, she was not familiar with them. That was why she did not plan to let them know about her. Chapter 96. Sima Yuran and the others did not know that Sima Yu had medical skills, so they did not think that she was the one who had personally created this. At this rate, we should be able to leave in a few days. Wei Ziqi changed the topic appropriately. We're finally going out. After staying in the mountains for so long, I feel like I've turned into a spirit beast. Fatty Chu said with a smile. I think you're a barbarian who has been staying here all this time. Sima Yue said with a smile. What barbarian? Humph. This young master misses the bustling world of the capital. If I really had to stay in the mountains for half a year or a year, I would definitely go crazy. Fatty Chu said, You're just too restless. That's why you're so far behind Ouyang and Beigong. Sima Yue said as she slapped Fatty Chu's head, thinking that he was the weakest amongst the five of them. Fatty Chu shrugged his shoulders awkwardly and didn't refute Sima Yue's words. However, she swore to herself that she would not fall behind Sima Yue. It was this vow that made him put more effort into his cultivation in the future, allowing him to constantly improve. The journey out was peaceful. Even if they encountered some low-level spirit beasts, it wouldn't be too much of a problem with the strength of a dozen or so people. 3 days later, they finally left the Pu Luo mountain range while riding on the spirit beasts. The spirit beast carried them and continued to rush towards Salt City. Sima Yu sat on the back of Sima Yu Ran's spirit beast. She turned her head back and looked at the endless mountains under the blue sky. She sighed heavily in her heart. Bei Gong Tang sat behind Wei Ziqi's spirit beast and saw Sima Yue turn around to look. They also glanced at her and felt the same way. None of them had expected that they would encounter so many things in this operation. After walking on the edge of life and death several times, they had helped and cared for each other. Originally, they were only together because of the Academy's request, but now they had truly developed a friendship of life and death. They had become a true team. Sima Yue saw that Bei Gongtang and the others were also looking back, so she shifted her gaze to them. Coincidentally, they were also looking back. The three of them looked at each other and smiled knowingly. Sensing their previous interaction, Ouyang Fei and Fatty Chu looked over as well. Everyone could see the smiles in each other's eyes. A warm current flowed into each other's hearts, allowing them to find a different kind of warmth in this team. The spirit beast brought the group of people to Yin City very quickly. When they reached the outskirts of the city, they kept their spirit beasts and went straight to the inn that Sima Lai was staying at. Coincidentally, it was also the place where Sima Yue and the others had stayed. The innkeeper was calculating the accounts at the counter when he heard someone come in. He looked up and said with a smile, "Oh, dear guests, I'm really sorry. Our inn has been booked by someone, and we can't stay for the time being. Do you want to check out other places?" "We came to look for someone," Sima Yuran said. "Looking for someone?" That guest didn't say that anyone would come looking for them. The innkeeper said suspiciously, "I'm sorry, everyone. Those people have instructed that without them, we are not to disturb them." At this moment, a guard came down from upstairs. When he saw Sima Yuran and the others, he quickly came down and bowed to them, saying, "Third young master, fourth young master, fifth young master, you're finally here." "Xiao Ling, where's grandfather?" Sima Yuran asked. "Master is upstairs. We're preparing to return to the capital. I came down to check out," Xiao Ling replied. Xiao Ling was Sima Lai's personal guard. Seeing that his expression was not right, Sima Yue asked, "Did something happen to grandfather?" Xiao Ling never thought that Sima Yue would be so sensitive and guessed it immediately. He was stunned for a moment before saying, "Yes, the general is injured. We're preparing to bring him back to the capital to look for Great Master Sure." "You're going back to look for him? Then grandfather's injury is very serious?" Sima Yue was shocked. "What happened to grandfather?" "We don't know either. When the general went out yesterday, he didn't let us follow him. When he came back this morning, he was seriously injured and has been unconscious for half a day. We've looked for the local alchemists to take a look, but they were helpless. It's useless to look for an alchemist either. That's why we're planning to return to the capital to look for Great Master Sure." Xiao Ling replied, "Don't check out yet. I'm going to take a look at grandfather," Sima Yue said and ran upstairs. "Xiao Ling, get the innkeeper to arrange rooms for everyone," Sima Yuran said and ran up as well. Sima Yue didn't say anything and chased after him in a hurry. Xiao Ling didn't know why Sima Yue wouldn't let them check out. However, since Sima Yue had instructed him, he turned around and said to the innkeeper, "Arrange rooms for everyone." After speaking, he went upstairs as well. Sima Yue didn't need to ask for Sima Lai's room. She went upstairs and ran towards the door where there were guards. Fifth young master. When the guards saw Sima Yue, they were surprised to see her here. However, Sima Yue didn't give them any time and directly pushed the door open and entered. Sima Yu ran, and Sima Yulu came up and nodded at the guards before entering the room. This room was the room that Sima Yu had stayed in before. When she entered the room, she immediately saw Sima lying in the bedroom. Grandfather. She ran over and saw that Sima Lai's eyes were tightly shut and his eyebrows were furrowed together. His lips were trembling, and he seemed to be in great pain. His face was black and looked like he had been poisoned. She quickly grabbed Sima Lai's hand and took his pulse. When Sima Yu ran and Sima Yulu saw Sima Lai in this state, they panicked. When they saw that Sima Yu was taking his pulse, they forgot that she didn't have any medical skills and asked, Yu, how? His grandfather? Sima Yu didn't say anything. After taking his pulse, she put down Sima Lai's hand and said, there is a poison in grandfather's body that is wreaking havoc. However, it is different from the usual poison. Sima Yu was a little puzzled as she looked at Sima Lai's body for a while. Suddenly, she grabbed his clothes and pulled, revealing his pitch-black chest. What is this? Sima Yulu saw the thing on Sima Lai's chest and cried out in shock. As for Imo Shah, who was recovering his soul beside the golden snake fruit tree, he suddenly opened his eyes, and his eyes flashed with suspicion. As expected, Sima Yu saw the black aura on Sima Lai's chest and sucked in a breath. Her expression was incomparably solemn. You know this? Sima Yu looked at Sima Yu suspiciously as he asked. I guess I know. I've seen it in a book before. Sima Yu said. Then do you know how to save grandfather? If it's not possible, we can immediately use the teleportation array to return to the capital. Sima Yu said. It's too late. Sima Yu shook her head. Using the teleportation array to return to the capital will take a day. If the poison in grandfather's body is not expelled, he will die in half a day. What did you say? Sima Yu ran, and Sima Yulu were flustered by these words. It was a good thing that Sima Yu reacted quickly and held on to Sima Yu's shoulder, saying, Fifth bro, since you know this thing, do you know how to remove it? Chapter 97. Sima Yu shook her head and said, I haven't thought of a way. I can only suppress the poison in Grandpa's body for a while. How long? 2 days. Sima Yu said, we have to think of a way to detoxify the poison within these 2 days. Otherwise, the result will be the same after 2 days. Okay, help Grandfather suppress the poison first. Sima Yulu said anxiously. Take off Grandpa's shirt. Sima Yu nodded at the two of them and said. Just as Xiaoling came in, she ordered, tell the waiter to bring up a jar of liquor and new cotton cloth. Xiaoling saw that Sima Yu was stripping Sima Lai of his clothes and did not know what Sima Yu wanted to do. However, he immediately ordered the guards at the door to do as Sima Yu said. Very quickly, the strong wine and new cotton cloth were brought up. Sima Yu had already taken off Sima Lai's clothes. Xiaoling took the jug and gestured for the guardsman to leave and close the door. The liquor is here, fifth young master, Xiaoling said as he approached with a jar of liquor. Sima Yu took the cotton cloth and had Xiaoling open the wine jar before holding the jar and pouring wine onto the cloth. Once the cotton cloth was completely soaked by the strong alcohol, she used the cotton cloth to wipe Sima Lai's entire upper body. After wiping it 3 times, she threw the cotton cloth aside. With a thought, an exquisite box appeared in front of everyone. She opened the box and took out the silver needles inside. She quickly inserted them into Sima Lai's body, followed by the second one. The third Sima Yulu and the other 2 watched as Sima Yu inserted needles all over Sima Lai's body. They were all extremely puzzled, not knowing what these needles were for. Half an hour later, Sima Yu's forehead was covered with perspiration. She heaved a sigh of relief after the last needle was inserted. Fifth bro, are you done? Sima Yu asked when he felt Sima Yu relax. Sima Yu wiped the sweat off her forehead with her sleeve and said, Yes, it's under control for now. Sima Yu had to be very careful with every step. She could not afford to make a single mistake. This put a lot of pressure on her. Fortunately, she was able to successfully insert the needles and suppress the poison in Sima Lai's chest. The scar on grandfather's face disappeared. Sima Yulu said excitedly as he looked at Sima Lai's face. Sima Yu ran, and Xiao Ling took a look. As expected, the black aura on his face had disappeared, and his complexion returned to normal. However, because of his injuries, he was still pale. Fifth bro, how did you do that? Sima Yue asked. I used a silver needle Yu. Acupoints, what's that? Sima Yulu frowned and asked. Also, fifth bro, when did you learn medicine? Sima Yue said, grandfather can't move for now. Yue said Yue, T.U.S. said grandfather ts Yue. I'm going back to my room to rest and see if I can think of anything. Yue Sima Yu kept the remaining silver needles into her interspatial ring and turned around to leave. Sima Yuran looked at her back, and his eyes flashed with suspicion. Sima Yue went to the room next door. It did not matter who the room belonged to before, it was now hers. She locked the door from the inside and entered the soul pearl in a flash. She wanted to see if there was anything here that could help her. She didn't expect to see Mo Sha the moment she entered. Mo Sha, why are you here? Aren't you beside the golden snake fruit tree? What is the shape of the black chi on your grandfather's chest? Mo Sha asked directly. Sima Yue knew that Mo Sha could freely enter and exit the spirit pearl, so she guessed that he would know what was going on outside, so she wasn't surprised that he knew about Sima Lai's situation. She thought for a while and said, I think it's a chicken claw print, but it has 6 fingers. Sima Yue said, 6 fingers as expected. Mo Sha muttered. Sima Yue looked at Mo Sha's reaction and asked, You know, that's not poison, it's demonic chi. Mo Sha said, What? Demonic chi? Sima Yue widened her eyes. Didn't you say that the devil clansmen are all in the devil realm? Why would there be demonic chi on grandfather's body? How would I know? I haven't been back for many years. Mo Sha said, Why would there be demonic chi on your grandfather's body? You could just ask him when he wakes up. Since it's demonic chi, do you have a way to save my grandfather? Sima Yue looked at Mo Sha expectantly. Mo Sha had never seen Sima Yue look at him like that. In the past, no matter if she was threatening him, thanking him, or ignoring him, her eyes always carried a faint sense of alienation. But now he saw a trace of dependence in her eyes. This made him, who had never felt dependence, feel strange. How is it? Is there a way or not? Sima Yue saw that Mo Sha didn't speak, so she urged him. Mo Sha put away the strange feeling in his heart and said, There is a way, and it's very simple, but after the demonic chi is expelled, your grandfather's body will be damaged. Then what do we do? Sima Yue asked. As long as you have a Huangji pill, it'll be fine. Mo Sha said. Huangji pill? What kind of pill is that? What grade is it? Sima Yue asked. It's a pill that helps the human body recover. 4th grade. Mo Sha said. 4th grade. Sima Yue was stunned when she heard that. Where is she going to find a 4th grade Huangji pill now? If it's really not possible, then we'll save grandfather's life first. We'll think of a way to recover his strength later. I saw it. There are ingredients for the Huangji pill in the spirit pearl. Mo Sha said. Sima Yue raised her head and looked at him, blinking her eyes. That's right, you can refine pills. Can you help me refine a Huangji pill? If you want me to help, I can do it, but you have to promise me one thing. Mo Sha said. Sima Yue stared blankly. Then her face darkened, saying, If you can save my grandfather, I promise you that when we can cancel our contract, I will cancel it. Mo Sha didn't think that Sima Yue would know what he was thinking. Thinking about the relationship between the two of them, it wasn't strange that she knew. However, he didn't think it was bad. With his status, how could he be bound by one person for his entire life? Since you know, then I don't have to say it. I can refine the Huangji pill, but you'll need to inject spiritual energy in the end. Otherwise, without using demonic energy, the pill will directly take his life. Mo Sha said. I know. Then when do we start? Sima Yue asked. When you've rested enough. Mo Sha said. I'll take this chance to prepare the ingredients. Sima Yue nodded. She went to where the golden snake fruit tree was and sat down to meditate. This golden snake fruit tree had healing effects on the soul and it could help her quickly recover her spiritual energy. When she felt that she had more or less recovered, Immerse appeared in front of her, saying, "The ingredients have been prepared. We can start now." This 5th grade pill requires quite a bit of spiritual energy, so you have to be prepared. These pills are pills that I just refined to recover spiritual energy. You have dark energy in your body, so there won't be any abnormalities after consuming them. Chapter 98. Sima Yue took the pill and looked at the black pill in her hand. She didn't think that the pill that Immerse casually refined to recover spiritual energy would be a 3rd level pill. Then how high was his alchemy level? Since you can refine pills by yourself, why do you need my help? Sima Yue was puzzled as she recalled that he wanted her help to refine pills. After all, I'm just a spiritual body. I can still endure refining these low-level pills. If it's a high-level pill, I don't have enough demonic chi to condense the pill. I see. She put away the pill and stood up, saying, "Let's begin." Immerse didn't know what Sima Yue was thinking as he brought him to the alchemy room. Little Spirit was already waiting there. He knew that Sima Yue was anxious now. He glanced at her and did not say anything. "I'm going to start now. When I tell you to start, you have to start injecting spiritual power into it. If I don't tell you to stop, you can't stop. Otherwise, it will be scrapped. When you don't have enough spiritual energy, take some pills." It was rare for Immerse to be so kind as to advise her. "Okay." Sima Yue nodded and shifted her gaze to the alchemy furnace. Although it was said that he was refining pills for his grandfather this time, it was also a learning opportunity. By watching others concoct pills, he could also reflect on his own shortcomings and seek improvement. Immerse seemed to have the same idea, so he slowed down his refining process as much as possible so that Sima Yue could understand. However, because of this, the original 3 to 4 hours had been extended by nearly an hour. "Begin," Immerse said. Sima Yue also guessed that it was about time to condense the pill, so she was already prepared. When Immerse shouted to start, she condensed her spiritual energy and inserted it into the pill furnace. In order to make the pill contain spiritual energy, she had to quickly infuse it with spiritual energy, so she quickly felt that the spiritual energy in her body was insufficient. When her spiritual energy was about to dry up, she took out the pill that Immerse had refined and ate it. The pill quickly took effect in her body, and she felt her empty spiritual energy fill up again. She didn't know if it was the pill's power or if it was drawn in from the air. Immerse was originally worried that Sima Yue would not be familiar with the process and cause the spiritual energy to be interrupted. However, seeing that she continued to infuse it at a constant speed, he looked at her with approval. After eating the 2 pills, she continued for about 10 minutes before Immerse shouted for her to stop. Sima Yue quickly retracted her hand and sat down on the ground in exhaustion. Immerse refined a bit more, waiting for the pill to be completely refined before he extinguished the fire and retrieved the pill. A golden-colored pill appeared in front of Sima Yue's eyes. That dazzling golden color gave her the color of hope. "You should rest well here and recover the spiritual energy in your body," Immerse said. "Yue's heart she's. Sima Yue have the pill. She see Yue's spiritual energy at Yue. She Yue the. Sima Yue felt that the spiritual energy in her body was somewhat restless. The spiritual energy outside was still continuously entering her body. This feeling, could it be that I'm about to advance? Sima Yue thought to herself. If that's the case, then let's see if I can advance to level 6. Just as she was about to let loose, Little Spirit appeared in the pill refining room and interrupted her cultivation. "What's wrong?" Sima Yue looked at Little Spirit and asked. "I'm telling you not to waste time and energy," Little Spirit said. "It's impossible to advance in the Spirit Pearl. No matter how much spiritual energy you absorb, it'll only accumulate in your body." "Can't advance? Why?" Sima Yue didn't understand. "Because there's no heavenly Tao here," Little Spirit said. "What's heavenly Tao?" Sima Yue continued to ask. "I'm not sure what it is. You'll have to experience it yourself," Little Ling said. "If you can't advance here, why don't you go outside? Who knows, you might be able to succeed. Thinking about Sima Lai's situation, she felt that she couldn't stay here any longer. She got up and prepared to look for Mo Shah. When she opened the door, she saw him standing outside with his hands clasped behind his back, looking at the scenery in the distance. Done? Mo Shah turned around and asked. Let's go. Sima Yue said. Mo Shah nodded, and Sima Yue went out first. In Sima Lai's room, Sima Yue ran, and Sima Yue looked at Sima Lai worriedly. Third bro, the doctors and alchemists we invited all said that there's no way. Do you think fifth bro has a way to save grandfather? Sima Yue said. Sima Yue ran thought about Sima Yue's back as she left, and said, I don't know either. Right now, we can only hope that he can think of a way. I hope that he really has a way. Sima Yue felt that Sima Yue's words were weird, but he couldn't put his finger on it. Xiaoling knocked on the door twice and pushed it open to enter, saying to the two of them, Third young master, fourth young master doesn't seem to be in the house. Fifth bro isn't in the house. Sima Yue said in disbelief. If he's not in the house, where could he have gone? This subordinate knocked on fifth young master's door, but there was no sound from inside. Xiaoling said, Fifth bro has already gone back for almost a day. Grandfather only has 1 day left. Where could he have gone at this time? Sima Yue said worriedly. I went out to look for something. Sima Yue suddenly appeared at the door, giving the three of them a shock. Fifth bro, have you thought of a way to save grandfather? Sima Yue asked. Sima Yue nodded, saying, I have, but I need absolute silence. Can you guys go out for a while? Sima Yue and Sima Yue exchanged glances, not knowing what Sima Yue wanted to do. Don't worry, I will definitely save grandfather. Sima Yue promised. I won't let anything happen to grandfather. Sima Yue stood up and walked over to Sima Yue. He wanted to pat her head, but he put his hand down halfway and said, We'll wait for you outside. Sima Yue nodded. Sima Yue looked at her with a strange gaze, but also with a hint of understanding. She could not help but wonder if he had discovered her identity. Fifth bro, I'll leave grandfather to you. Sima Yue saw that Sima Yue had left, so he left as well. Sima Yue turned around and closed the door. She looked at the people outside and said, Don't worry, grandfather dotes on me so much. It's time for me to repay him. After speaking, she closed the door. Sima Yue saw the way Sima Yue was acting and muttered, Fifth bro has really grown up. Sima Yue looked at the tightly shut door and did not comment on Sima Yue's words. Had she really grown up? Or was it that she had changed into someone else? In the house, Sima Yue came to Sima Lai's bedside. With a thought, Mo Shah appeared beside her. Because there were people outside, Sima Yue could not speak and use their contract to communicate with Mo Shah. Mo Shah, let's begin. Chapter 99. Mo Shah nodded his head and looked at the claw mark on Sima Lai's chest. He indicated for her to feed him the mighty emperor pellet and then removed the silver needles from his body. Sima Yue did as she was told. She took out the mighty emperor pill and placed it in Sima Lai's mouth. After seeing that he had swallowed it, she then took back the silver needles and retreated to the side. Mo Shah extended his right hand and placed it on top of Sima Lai's chest. A ball of black fog slowly wrapped around his hand. Sima Yue stared at him closely, not knowing how he was going to expel the devil chi from Sima Lai's body. Mo Shah, on the other hand, was very casual. It was as if the devil chi in Sima Lai's body had met its natural enemy and began to move wildly. Those 6 chicken claws seemed to have come alive and began to move around chaotically. Sima Yue was shocked by the scene in front of her. She thought that it was just some simple devil chi, but she did not expect it to be alive. Seeing the devil claw resisting, Mo Shah coldly snorted and increased his strength. The devil claw unwillingly pulled out of Sima Lai's body. Squeak, squeak. When the devil claw left Sima Lai's body, it let out a shrill squeal like that of a mouse. Little 6-toed devil mouse, you still want to fight against me? Mo Shah's devil chi grabbed the devil claw in his hand. Just one look was enough to make it tremble. Mo Shah exerted force and the devil claw turned into a faint black fog, which was swallowed by the black fog in his hand. "That's it?" Sima Yue asked as she watched Mo Sha retract his devil energy. Mo Sha nodded and entered the soul pearl in a flash. Sima Yue turned around and took Sima Lai's pulse. She could feel that his body had been corroded by the devil qi. If it was just a simple removal of the devil qi, his strength would definitely have dropped by a lot. Fortunately, the Nightmare Emperor Extreme Pill was slowly repairing the parts of his body that had been corroded. Presumably, his strength would not be damaged by the time he woke up. After confirming that Sima Lai was all right, Sima Yoyue's worried heart finally relaxed. She came to the door and heaved a sigh of relief. She opened the door and smiled at Sima Yuran and the others who were anxiously waiting outside. "Third brother, fourth brother, it's done." Sima Yulu was anxiously pacing in circles when he saw Sima Yuyu come out. He shot forward and held her shoulders, asking, "Fifth bro, is grandfather all right?" "Fortunately, I did not disappoint you." Sima Yuyu smiled as she stepped aside. Sima Yuran and Sima Yulu rushed in and only relaxed when they saw that the black aura on Sima Lai's body had already disappeared. "Fifth bro, it's all thanks to you," Sima Yuyu said as he patted Sima Yuyu's shoulder. "I just happened to see it in an ancient book." Sima Yue said, "No matter what, this time, it's all thanks to you." Sima Yuran said, "When will grandfather wake up? Grandpa's body was injured by that demonic creature and is now recovering. He should be able to wake up tomorrow." Sima Yue said, "Demonic creature?" Sima Yuran frowned. "Why would a demonic creature appear here?" As far as I know, demonic creatures are all in the devil realm. I don't know how grandfather encountered one and was even injured by it." Sima Yue said, "We can only wait for grandfather to wake up before we talk about it." We'll ask grandfather when he wakes up." Sima Yuran nodded. "Third brother, fourth brother, you've taken care of grandfather for an entire day. Go and rest for a while. Just leave this to me." "Okay, take good care of grandfather." After an entire day of anxiety and worry, Sima Yulu was indeed tired. "We'll be next door. Remember to inform us when grandfather wakes up," Sima Yuran instructed. Don't worry, I will." Sima Yue sat beside Sima Lai's bed and waved at the two of them. Sima Yulu went out first, and Sima Yuran followed behind. When he closed the door, he glanced inside and saw Sima Yue sitting beside the bed and looking at Sima Lai. She carefully helped him put on his clothes, and the corner of her mouth lifted slightly. When she was the only one left in the house, she contacted Mo Sha, who was in the Spirit Pearl. "Mo Sha, what kind of demonic creature is that six-toed devil mouse?" "It's just the lowest-ranked demonic creature in the devil realm," Mo Sha said lightly. "Since it's a demonic creature, why would it appear in Dongchen? This is indeed a little strange." Mo Sha thought about it and said, "Demonic creatures usually live in the devil realm. More accurately speaking, they are trapped in the devil realm. Now that it has appeared here, it can only mean that a demonic creature has found an exit and is coming here. What will happen if a large group of demonic creatures come here?" Sima Yue thought that even the lowest-ranked six-toed devil mouse caused Sima Lai to be like this. If a large group of demonic creatures came, the consequences would be unimaginable. She thought that all living things in the continent would be wiped out. "Don't worry, what you're thinking won't happen. At least, it won't happen for the time being," Mo Sha said with a cold smile as he felt Sima Yue's thoughts. "Why?" Sima Yue asked. "Didn't I just say it? The demonic creatures are trapped in the devil realm. Since they're trapped, how can they let a large group of demonic creatures out? Even if there is an exit, the demonic creatures won't choose to come to the Yilin continent." "Why not?" "Because of the heavenly Tao," Mo Sha said. "The heavenly Tao again." This was the second time Sima Yue heard this phrase, but she still didn't know what the heavenly Tao was. "I still don't understand." Sima Yue shook her head. "Let's put it this way," Mo Sha said, "because the Yilin continent's level is too low, its strength is too weak. For the sake of the balance of the world, an invisible thing appeared here. That thing restricts those high-level places so that they can't come here and wreak havoc. The heavenly Tao will naturally restrict their strength so that they can only display the highest level of strength here. For example, a God-rank person can only display the strength of the spirit paragon here, right? Sima Yue asked, right? Mo Sha said, because they are weak, they are protected by the heavenly Tao, and the barrier between the Devil Realm and the Yi Lin continent is the thickest. Those fellows won't give up on the weak spot and choose to come here. Even if they come, they won't be able to get good resources. They won't waste their time. Although it was uncomfortable to be called the weakest spot, after hearing this, Sima Yue didn't have to worry about the Devil Clan coming here to harm her family. Also, the Devil Clan isn't as strong as you think, Mo Sha said after a moment of silence. Grandfather is a spirit paragon, but he can't defeat a normal devil beast from the Devil Realm. Isn't that strong? Sima Yue didn't believe it. This six-toed devil rat is special. Also, your grandfather must have been ambushed for it to succeed. As for the Devil Chi, it's just that your light attribute counters each other. If we meet other devil beasts, it's not like your grandfather doesn't have the strength to fight. Grandfather was ambushed? Sima Yue looked at Sima Lai. What exactly did he encounter yesterday? Not only did he suffer such serious injuries, he was even ambushed by a devil beast. Since it was impossible for people from the Devil Realm to come to this world, then who was the one who had the six-toed devil rat? Why did he hurt Grandfather? Grandpa, please wake up quickly. Website, please support this website. Chapter 100. In order to protect Sima Lai, Sima Yue cultivated in the house that night. She moved a chair to the side of the bed and sat cross-legged on it, beginning to cultivate the soul-refining technique. The next morning, sunlight shone into the house. Sima Lai slowly opened his eyes and looked at the sunlight that shone on Sima Yue's body. He felt dazzled. After cultivating for an entire night, the remaining fatigue from yesterday was swept away. Sima Yue let out a long breath and slowly opened her eyes. Grandfather, you're awake? Seeing Sima Lai looking at her, Yue was so excited that she almost jumped out of her chair. Sima Lai nodded his head and looked at her kindly. Thinking of his previous situation, he knew that he must have frightened her. Yue, how did you know I was here? I met third brother and fourth brother in the mountains. They said that you live here. Sima Yue said, you're awake. I'll call third brother and the others. You were injured and unconscious, which scared them to death. After speaking, she quickly ran out and quickly brought Sima Yue and Sima Yue back. Grandfather, you're awake. Do you feel uncomfortable anywhere? Sima Lai shook his head, indicating that he was fine. Xiaoling, have a shop cook some porridge for breakfast. Sima Yue said to Xiaoling, who came in. Then she thought about it and realized that the things cooked in these places might not be drinkable. She changed her mind and said, forget it, I'll do it myself. Third brother, you guys stay here and take care of Grandpa. I'll go make some breakfast. Before Xiaoling could react, Sima Yue had bypassed him and left. He did not think that Sima Yue would actually be able to save Sima Lai. Looking at his master, who had opened his eyes again, his eyes turned slightly red. He came to the bed and knelt down. General, your subordinate did not protect you well and caused you to suffer such a great disaster. Please punish me. Xiaoling, get up. I was the one who didn't allow you to follow me. It's not your fault. Although Sima Lai had woken up, he was still somewhat weak and spoke weakly. Xiaoling, just get up. Grandfather won't blame you. Sima Yue said. Sima Yue came to Xiaoling's side and pulled him up. He then said to Sima Lai, Grandfather, you don't know how dangerous your situation was this time. If it wasn't for the fact that fifth brother knew to save you, I'm afraid that we would have. He didn't finish his sentence, but everyone understood. Yue saved me? Sima Lai asked in surprise. Sima Yue nodded, saying that's right. When we arrived at the inn, we bumped into Xiaoling, who was checking out. He said he wanted to take you back to the capital to find Master Sure. But fifth brother checked you out and said that if you don't get treatment in time, you'll only live for half a day. Later, she used some needles to suppress the poison in your chest and delayed it for a day or two. Yes, we invited some doctors to take a look, but they all said that there was no way. Later, it was fifth brother who found a way to save you during this period of time, and then he even guarded you for a night. She said you would wake up today, and you woke up this morning. How did US save me? Hearing that his favorite granddaughter had saved him, Sima Lai was in a good mood. We don't know either. She told us to go out. Sima Yue said. Sima Lai thought of the person behind Sima Yue who had cured her poison. Could it be that that person had taught her? Until now, Sima Lai still felt that someone was helping her from behind. Because he was too weak, Sima Lai didn't say too much. Sima Yue ran, and the others just stayed by his side. After a while, Sima Yue came in with a bowl of porridge and said to Sima Yue ran and the others, "Third brother, fourth brother, I left some porridge in the kitchen. I'll feed grandfather here. You guys go and eat something first. You guys haven't eaten for a day." Okay. Sima Yue ran and the others had eaten Sima Yue's food a few times before, and they all fell in love with it. Since they hadn't eaten for a day, they were indeed a little hungry. As such, everyone went out and left Sima Lai in her care. Sima Yue placed the tray on the table and came to the bedside, saying, "Grandfather, I'll help you up so you can lean against me." Sima Lai nodded and used her strength to move his body backwards and leaned against the pillow that she had prepared. Sima Yue brought the porridge over and scooped up a spoonful. She blew on it before feeding it to Sima Lai. "Grandfather, this is a medicinal porridge that I added a few ingredients to. It will be very helpful for your recovery," Sima Yue said as she fed him. With Sima Lai's strength, he didn't need much food. In the past, he would accompany Sima Yue to eat breakfast. He thought that it was just a habit, but he didn't expect that she had specially cooked porridge for him. Yue's food is getting better and better. The porridge was fragrant and smooth. After eating it, he felt a warm current flow through his body, expelling all the coldness in his body. The strength in his body slowly returned. "If grandfather likes it, Yue will make it for you more often in the future," Sima Yue said with a smile. "Ha, good." Sima Lai heard these heartwarming words and thought of the person who used to be with him all day long and didn't even return home. His heart was filled with emotions. It was said that daughters were like cotton jackets, and his granddaughter had learned how to be considerate. The grandfather and grandson duo finished the entire bowl of porridge in this warm atmosphere. After they were done, Sima Yue even took out a silk handkerchief to wipe his mouth. Sima Lai's heart was in a mess. After placing the bowl and the tray on the table, Sima Yue returned and said, "Grandfather, do you feel better?" The effects of your medicinal porridge are really not bad. My body is now comfortably warm." Sima Lai said, "That's good." Sima Yue said, "Grandfather, how did you get injured?" "It's nothing much. When I went out, I met an old enemy." Sima Lai said, "Grandfather, don't try to coax me." Sima Yue said, "Demons don't appear in the Yilin continent. If it was an ordinary enemy, how could you be injured by the six-toed devil mouse and leave behind demon chi in your body? You're saying that it was a demon." Sima Lai looked at Sima Yue with an expression of shock that was no less than when she first found out. Sima Yue nodded and said, "That's why I guessed that it wasn't an ordinary enemy that hurt you. And with grandfather's strength, there aren't many in the entire continent who can hurt you. So the monster that hit me at the end was actually a demon." Sima Lai muttered, "Grandfather, you're still not going to tell me?" Sima Yue said, "You're really much smarter than before." Sima Lai said, "It's just that that person must have already gone back. So if I tell you, grandfather, since it was an enemy that wanted your life, it must not be an ordinary grudge. Just because they left now doesn't mean that they won't come back. If you don't tell us, what if we meet them later?" Sima Yue interrupted Sima Lai's words, causing him to be stunned. After a moment of silence, Sima Lai let out a long sigh and said, "Sigh, this is also an old grudge of our clan." Chapter 101. It actually escalated to an old family feud. The moment Sima Lai opened his mouth, Sima Yue was shocked. I really shouldn't have told you these things, but if something like this were to happen again and I suddenly die, you would be even more at a loss," Sima Lai said with a sigh. Sima Yue saw the unwillingness on Sima Lai's face. She held his hand and said, "Grandfather, we are also the descendants of the Sima family. If we can help you share some of the burden, we will, right?" Sima Lai patted Sima Yoyue's hand. This granddaughter of his was so sensible that it made his heart ache. Have you ever thought that while other clans have many branches, our Sima family only has our branch? Sima Lai asked. Sima Yue thought about it, and it seemed to be the case. Other families had many branches, but their Sima family only had Sima Lai, Sima Yue, and her 5 siblings. In the past, she didn't think much of it because she didn't have a strong sense of family in her previous life. But now that she thought about it, it didn't match this world at all. In this world, all the families were united. There was no one like them who only had a few masters, unless they didn't have any other relatives. "Grandpa, are all our relatives from the other branches dead?" Sima Yue asked. Sima Lai shook his head and said, "We didn't die, but we were chased out." "Chased out?" "Yes, and they were banished to this place of captivity." "Prison?" Sima Yue felt that she had been confused by Sima Lai. This place was a prison. Could it be that they were living in prison? Actually, the Dongchun Kingdom is a part of the Yilin continent. You know this, right? Sima Lai asked. Sima Yue nodded. She knew about this. Actually, this Dongchun Kingdom is the Yilin continent's prison. Sima Lai said, "The people in this country were all driven here in the past. Those large clans were driven here for a long time, so they slowly developed and developed. As for us, because we haven't been here for long, we haven't developed yet." "Grandfather, why do you say that the Dongchun Kingdom is a place of imprisonment?" Sima Yue asked in confusion. "Because the Dongchun country is surrounded by steep mountains and is guarded by high-grade spirit beasts. These places are like a prison, and the people here can only live in this place. If anyone wants to go out, I'm afraid they won't be able to go far before dying in the Sophia Mountains." Sima Lai said, "This Dongchun Kingdom's resources are scarce. Compared to the outside world, this place is like a prison. In other words, we are actually living in a valley." Sima Yue said. Sima Lai nodded. "Grandpa, why were we banished here?" Sima Yue asked. "Because I was framed." Sima Lai's entire body trembled as he spoke. "Our Sima family could be considered a big family outside, but your great-grandfather was framed and expelled from the family. He was even chased by the person who framed him. With no other choice, he could only bring us to escape into the Sophia Mountains. The Sophia Mountains are dangerous, and not long after we entered, we were all killed. Even your great-grandfather and great-grandmother were not spared. In the end, I was the only one left. Originally, I almost died in the stomach of a spirit beast, but fortunately, a benefactor saved me and brought me out of the Sophia Mountains to the Dongchun Kingdom." Saying this, Sima Lai glanced at Sima Yue. He did not tell her that the person who saved him was her father. "After that, I lived here and worked hard to improve my strength. Fortunately, my talent was not bad, and I was able to mix well here. I even became a great general and helped His Majesty to manage the security of the Dongchun Kingdom." Sima Lai said, "Then the person who hurt you, was he the one who framed our family?" Sima Yue guessed. "Yes." Sima Lai nodded. "That was my childhood playmate. I don't know why, but he actually knew about the golden snake fruit. I don't even know what method he used, but he actually passed through the Sophia Mountains and came to the Pu Luo Mountains. Originally, my strength was about the same as his, but his battle strength was not as good as mine. Just as I was about to win, an ugly monster came out from his body and hit me. At that time, I felt that something was wrong and immediately ran away. That person knew that grandfather ran away. Will he come again?" Sima Yue was a little worried. "I don't think so." Sima Lai said, "I understand that person's temperament. He has always been conceited. Since I was injured by a spirit beast, in his eyes, I would not live for more than a day. So he was certain that I would not survive. Even if he felt that I was lucky enough to survive, he did not know where I was. If he wanted to find me, this Dongchun Kingdom is not small, so he would need to spend some time. However, he did not have the time to delay. Why? If I remember correctly, not long after, it will be a grand day for the Sima family. Everyone in the Sima family must return, otherwise they will be severely punished. He cannot afford to delay." Sima Lai said. However, this is still a hidden danger. Sima Yue thought for a while. Since he knows that you are here, he will also guess that you have a family. If they have the intention to silence you, I'm afraid that our future days will not be good. I think so too, Sima Lai said. Sima Yue saw that Sima Lai's eyebrows were tightly knitted and smiled, saying, Grandfather, don't worry too much. These are only our guesses. That person may not have the time to come again. You should just focus on recuperating. We can talk about the rest later. Sima Lai saw Sima Yue's smile, and the worry in his heart dissipated. He secretly made a decision in his heart that no matter what, he must protect her safety. Sima Yue waited for Sima Lai to cultivate and recuperate before leaving the house. When she returned to her own room, the smile on her face disappeared and was replaced by a deep worry. Although that person may not come now, he was still a hidden danger. Looks like I have to think of a way to increase my brother's strength. If not, when those people come, we will not have the strength to fight back. Sima Yue flashed into the spirit pearl and ran to look at the remaining 5 golden snake fruits. They were the only things that could increase her strength now, but she was still unable to refine pills. Other than relying on pills, there are other methods. Little Spirit appeared beside her and reminded her. There are other methods? Sima Yue looked at Little Spirit and hugged him, saying, Little Spirit, what other methods are there? Your flattering look is really ugly. Little Spirit said disdainfully. Sima Yue slapped him on the head and shouted, Flattering my ass. Hurry up and say, what other methods are there? Chapter 102. Little Spirit did not expect Sima Yue to change her mind, so he did not avoid her hand. After being hit, he covered his head and glared at Sima Yue. Sima Yue looked at Little Spirit's big round eyes that were staring at her pitifully. She immediately felt that he was adorable. She hugged him with one hand and rubbed his head with the other. She said, All right, I'm just anxious. Tell me, what other methods do you have? Little Spirit could feel Sima Yue's love for him. Hearing her words, he curled his lips and said, You're so stupid. Pills increase their strength from the inside. Can't you do it from the outside? From outside? Sima Yue blinked. You mean to prepare contract beasts for them? Little Spirit nodded his head. Have you forgotten what Imo Sha gave you? That's a treasure. You mean the Imperial Beast Art? Sima Yue thought of what it said. Using the Imperial Beast Art to tame spirit beasts, both parties would be able to increase their strength during the contract. Her eyes shone as she pinched Little Spirit's face and said with a smile, That's right. I can prepare spirit beasts for my brothers to contract. Little Spirit, thank you for your reminder. After saying that, she kissed Little Spirit's face and left with satisfaction. Leaving saliva on my face again. Little Spirit looked at her back, but there was a hidden smile in his eyes. Sima Yue came out and called Little Roar over. Yu, did you miss me? Little Roar pounced into Sima Yue's embrace the moment he arrived and said shamelessly. Looking at the narcissistic Little Roar, Sima Yue could not help but roll her eyes. How could there be such a narcissistic spirit beast? Little Roar, you can make those spirit beasts listen to you, right? Sima Yue asked. Let's see what level it is. Little Roar said, if it was just a normal beast, it wouldn't be a problem. However, if you're looking for a sacred beast, with my current strength, I won't be able to handle it. No need for a sacred beast. Sima Yue waved her hand. Even if she wanted a sacred beast, she didn't have one now. Just ordinary spirit beasts. I want to prepare some contract beasts for my brothers, and I can tame them, so their levels can't be too high. That's easy, Little Roar said. How much do you want? I'll go to the Puluo mountain range and kidnap a few. All right. Little Roar finally admitted that he had abducted a spirit beast. One for each of my 4 brothers. Sima Yue said, I think it's better if I go with you. Let's see what level I can tame. I'll try my best to prepare higher level ones for my brothers. All right. When are we going? Little Roar had always been very passionate about abducting spirit beasts. Hearing that they were going to abduct spirit beasts, he was extremely excited. Go now. He should be leaving for the capital tomorrow. Let's see if he can make it back before tomorrow morning. Sima Yue said. Tomorrow morning? We definitely can't do it tomorrow morning. Little Roar said, you can tame one spirit beast, but you have to choose a good one. Also, you have to test how high level you can contract. You have to take it slow. It'll be good if you can do it in 10 days. Sima Yue thought about it. Little Roar was right. It looked like she had to find an excuse to leave. After thinking for a long time, she left a letter and hugged Little Roar as she left the inn. She didn't think that she would bump into Sima Yue ran the moment she stepped out of the inn. Third brother? What are you doing here? Sima Yue ran looked at Sima Yue. She still had that familiar face and that familiar look of reliance, but they all went out to shop. I waited for you here. Sima Yue ran said with a smile. Wait for me for what? Sima Yue felt a little guilty. This guy couldn't have really seen through her, right? Sima Yue ran saw Sima Yue's expression and stepped forward to rub her head, saying, Are you interested in taking a walk with third brother? Does third brother want to go shopping? No. I have something I want to talk to you about. Sima Yue said. Oh, okay. Then let's go for a walk. Sima Yue said. She had always known that Sima Yue was the smartest out of her four brothers. She was too different from how she was in the past. In the past, because they didn't spend much time together, he didn't realize anything. However, after spending a few days together, he understood a few things. She lowered her head and followed Sima Yue, thinking about how to tell him about herself. Unknowingly, she followed him into a tea house. Let's go up and drink some tea. Sima Yue didn't ask for Sima Yue's opinion and directly brought her up. After getting the waiter to prepare a private room facing the street, Sima Yue sat opposite Sima Yue and waited for him to speak. I heard that the tea here is not bad. Sima Yue said as he poured a cup of tea for Sima Yue. Sima Yue raised the cup and sniffed it, then took a light sip. After that, she put the cup down and said, It really is not bad. Sima Yue looked at Sima Yue, who was lightly sipping the tea, and his eyes drooped. Fifth brother didn't know how to drink tea in the past. Every time I gave you good tea, you would gulp it down in one gulp. Everyone has to learn. Sima Yue's heart thumped. It really came. It's true that you have to learn, but some things can't be learned just by learning. I saw fifth brother's actions when he was treating grandfather were incomparably skillful. This is not something that can be learned overnight. Sima Yue said. Sima Yue was silent. He was right. Her medical skills were not something that could be learned in a short period of time. That day when she was treating Sima Lai's acupuncture, it was clear that she had not learned it in 3 to 5 days. What does third brother want to say? Sima Yue directly asked. Sima Yue did not think that Sima Yue would take the initiative. He smiled, saying, I just want to know, who are you? Why are you pretending to be my fifth brother? Where is my fifth brother now? Sima Yue wanted to speak, but Sima Yue raised his hand and said, Don't say that you're my fifth brother. What he was like in the past and what you are like now, we are all very clear in our hearts. If you say that you are him, do you think that I will believe you? Sima Yue was silent as she lowered her head and took a sip of tea. You better tell me the truth. Otherwise, it won't be hard for me to get rid of you now. Tell me quickly, where's my fifth brother? Sima Yue looked up and saw the anxiety in Sima Yue's eyes. She sighed, saying, Third brother, it really is me. Impossible. Sima Yue denied it. When I was 4 years old, I wet the bed. When you came to wake me up, you just happened to see me hiding my wet pants under the bed. Sima Yue's body trembled as he looked straight at Sima Yue. When I was 5 years old, you brought me to the forest outside the city to look for beehives. We were stung by bees, and one of them somehow got into your pants and stung your balls. When I was 10 years old, you fell in love with a girl. I was the one who encouraged you to chase after her, although you gave up in the end. Also, when I was 10 years old, I had my first period. I was so scared that I lost my head and thought that I was going to die. It was you who helped me find a sanitary pad, and the servant girl almost thought that you had some bad fetish. Cough, cough. Don't say any more. Sima Yue unnaturally interrupted Sima Yue when she mentioned those things. Sima Yue smiled. These are things that we promised to keep secret. I haven't told anyone all these years. Do you believe me now? Chapter 103. Sima Yuran had his suspicions, but the things that Sima Yu said were indeed little secrets that only the two of them knew. However, he found it strange that the person in front of him was his familiar younger sister. They were two completely different people. But how do you know medicine? When Sima Yu heard his question, she knew that he already believed her identity. She said, "Did Grandpa tell you about the seal on my body?" Seal? Sima Yuran furrowed his eyebrows. He didn't seem to have heard of this before, but seeing how she said it, it didn't seem to be fake. "What's going on?" Sima Yu shrugged and said, "I don't know either, but when I spoke, I had the memories of my previous life. Later on, because of the seal, my memories were also sealed. Later, because I was injured, the seal loosened, and I recovered the memories of my previous life. That medical skill is also something that I learned in my previous life." Your past life's memories? Sima Yuran felt that it was a little inconceivable, but this was the best explanation at the moment. It's no wonder your temperament has changed so much, and you've learned all these things that you didn't know before. What was your previous life like? Sima Yue recalled that she was framed and killed by the second-in-command of the organization on Earth. Recalling that heart-wrenching pain that belonged to Sima Yue in her dream, her complexion became somewhat unsightly. She smiled and said, "Third brother, those are all memories of the past. It's all in the past. Let's not talk about it." Sima Yuran knew that Sima Yue must have thought of something unhappy, so he didn't continue to ask. The two of them fell silent. "Third brother, if you're willing to tell us about this, I won't ask you to keep it a secret." Sima Yue did not want to keep it a secret. "As long as you're still our fifth brother, these things are not important," Sima Yuran said with a smile. "Thank you, third brother." Sima Yuran looked at Sima Yuran and thanked him sincerely. "I'm your brother, so I naturally have to protect you. Those guys didn't find out because they weren't smart enough, not because I didn't tell them." "Pfft, I knew it. Third brother is the smartest." Sima Yue smiled. "Third brother, I want to ask you to help me with something." "What is it?" Sima Yuran asked. "I have to make a trip back to Pu Luo mountain range. Can you take them with you first? I'm afraid that if I tell Grandpa, he won't let me go." Sima Yuran raised his eyebrows. "Then how did you know that I would agree to let you go if you told me? The Pu Luo mountain range is too dangerous. How can I let you go alone?" "Third brother, the last time I was alone in Pu Luo mountain range for a few months, did you forget?" Sima Yue said, "I also had an urgent matter to deal with. Don't worry, I'll go back by myself after I come out. But I'm no longer who I used to be. I have the memories of 2 lifetimes. I won't joke around with my life." Sima Yue said, "It's a deal then. Third brother, help me settle Grandpa. I'll leave first." After speaking, she didn't wait for Sima Yuran's reply and ran out. Sima Yuran watched as Sima Yue left and laughed as he shook his head. This brat. Her temper is the same as before. He raised his head and looked out of the window. Sima Yue just happened to run into the main street and felt his gaze. She even turned around and waved at him. "Third brother, remember to keep it a secret." After speaking, she even made a gesture in the air. Sima Yuran didn't reply, but he was thinking about how to explain it to Sima Lai when he returned. Since she said that she wanted to keep it a secret, it meant that she didn't want everyone to know that she went to Pu Luo mountain range. Thinking about the gesture that Sima Yue made just now, Sima Yuran's trust in her increased by another point. That gesture was something that the two of them would do every time they asked each other to keep it a secret. She did it inadvertently, which proved that she was really his sister and not someone else in disguise. Although he was smart, he didn't think of using another person's body to come back to life. As for Sima Yue, she treated the Sima family as her own home from the bottom of her heart. She treated them as her own family and treated her as the real Sima Yue. Sigh, what a mischievous brat. He sighed as he stood up and left. His steps were much lighter than when he came. Sima Yue left the city and called out Yiguang, asking him to bring her to Pu Luo mountain range. She didn't know what excuse Sima Yuran would use, but she believed that he would definitely be able to bring Sima Lai and the others back. Yiguang's speed wasn't slow, and she quickly returned to Pu Luo mountain range. Her goal this time was very clear: She was here to catch spirit beasts. Because she didn't know how many spirit beasts she could tame, she started from low-level spirit beasts. She first looked through the Imperial Beast art a few times and memorized the methods and points to take note of. After that, she got Yiguang and Little Roar to catch a low-level spirit beast. This was the first time she used the Imperial Beast art, so Sima Yuyue was a little nervous. That low-level spirit beast was not big, and under the pressure of Yiguang and Little Roar, it lay on the ground, trembling. Sima Yue walked over and placed her hand on its head. After that, she followed the instructions of the Imperial Beast art and moved the spirit energy in her body, working hard to establish a connection between herself and the spirit beast. Yiguang and Little Roar watched from aside. Because they didn't dare to interrupt her, they could only communicate through their contract. Little Roar, what does it feel to be tamed? Yiguang asked. At that time, he had taken the initiative to recognize Sima Yuyue as his master, so he didn't know how it felt to be tamed. How would I know? Little Roar said, I've never been tamed before. You've also contracted without being tamed? Yiguang looked at Little Roar in shock. Heh, it's all because I was young and ignorant. I was tricked by the cunning Yu and had no choice but to follow her. Sigh, now that I think about it, I'm filled with bitter tears. Yiguang looked at Little Roar and sighed his heart. He really knows how to act. Do you think that our master can tame a spirit beast? Yiguang saw that Sima Yue had not succeeded after so long and asked with uncertainty. Of course she can. Little Roar always had an exceptionally trusting attitude towards Sima Yue. No matter what it is, as long as Yu doesn't want to do it, there's nothing she can't do. Sima Yue, who had just finished taming, heard Little Roar's words and looked at him speechlessly. This guy, he was bursting with confidence in her. She didn't know when she was so powerful that she could succeed in whatever she wanted to do. Yu, are you done taming it? Little Roar flew over and looked at the low-level spirit beast obediently lying on the ground. Yeah, it's my first time using the Imperial Beast art. I'm not familiar with it, so I took a few detours and spent a little more time. Sima Yue said. What she didn't know was that maybe it was because of the strength of the Imperial Beast art or her unusually strong mental strength. The time she took to tame it was much shorter than the average Beast Tamer Master. Especially since it was her first time. If the Beast Tamer Master Guild knew that she had succeeded in taming a spirit beast on her first try, it would probably cause a storm. Chapter 104. For the rest of the time, Sima Yue had been looking for spiritual beasts to contract. From a level 1 low spiritual beast to a level 1 sacred beast, she had been improving rapidly. After 5 days in the mountains, Sima Yue could already tame a level 1 animal. On this day, after taming a level 1 sacred beast, the feedback from the beast allowed her to break through level 5 Spirit Master and successfully advance to level 6. I didn't expect the taming beast art to really allow a beast tamer to gain strength while taming beasts. Sima Yue was in a good mood as she sensed the increased strength in the Dunglong's body. Of course, otherwise, why would this art of taming beasts become a treasure that all the beast tamers fought over? Little Spirit said. The previous owner was a beast tamer. He once said that he wanted to obtain this Imperial Beast art. This was because if a beast tamer wanted to tame a spirit beast of a higher grade, they would have to spend more time improving their mental power, which would delay their own cultivation. If he had obtained the art of taming beasts, he would have been able to gain strength while taming spirit beasts. He wouldn't have been able to. Little Spirit, you have so many previous owners. Sima Yue broke out in cold sweat. She already had an alchemist and a beast tamer. She wouldn't be surprised if it told her that its previous owner had an alchemist and an array master. Little Spirit sniffled. It would never tell Sima Yue that its previous owner had all kinds of occupations. All right, let's continue taming. Sima Yue said, Little Roar, when I first tamed a level 1 sacred beast, I felt that it was rather easy. Why don't you directly find me a level 3 sacred beast? All right, just you wait. Little Roar flew away after speaking. Not long after, he brought a third-level sacred beast over. This time, Sima Yue felt that it was a little strenuous. In the end, she barely managed to tame it. After the taming, she wiped the sweat off her forehead. It seemed that she had overestimated her strength. However, being able to tame a saint beast was a rare sight in the entire Dongchen country. Of course, this was because she had obtained the taming beast art and training soul art, as well as her powerful mental power. Yu, do you want a level 4 one? Little Roar saw that Sima Yue was done taming and flew over to ask. Sima Yue shook her head and said, "It's taming a level 3 beast. If I taming a level 1 beast, I might as well hurt myself. Go and find me a few level 3 beasts. I'll start taming them after I recover." Yu is spirit beast Yu used to. Her you spirit beast for spirit. Perhaps it was because she had used up all her mental energy the first time she had tamed it. Sima Yu spent an entire night to recover and only fully recovered on the second day. After that, she tamed some first, second, and third level saint beasts and kept them all into her soul pearl. In order to not let them know the secret of the spirit pearl, she asked Little Spirit to lock them up together. "Master, you've been here for almost half a month." Yiguang saw that Sima Yue was almost done with her preparations, and the saint beasts in the surrounding area were almost wiped out by her. So he reminded her, "Yes, it's time for us to leave." Sima Yue nodded. "I wonder how the capital is now. Let's wait for Little Roar to return before we head back." After she finished speaking, she called out to Little Roar in her heart a few times, telling him that she was about to leave. She told him to come back quickly, or else she would leave him behind. "You heartless Yu," Little Roar complained, then said to the spirit beasts that were happily chatting beside him, "I'm leaving. Sigh, don't miss me too much." After saying that, it flew towards Sima Yue, leaving the female monkey looking at it reluctantly. Sima Yue sensed the situation on Little Roar's side, and her face was filled with black lines. This guy, he actually want to flirt with girls again. No, he want to flirt with spirit beasts. "Yu, I'm back." Little Roar came back and threw himself into Sima Yue's embrace. Sima Yue grabbed Little Roar's neck and brought him in front of her, looking left and right. "Yu, what are you looking at?" Little Roar blinked his big eyes and asked. "I'm looking to see if you're really an auspicious beast." Sima Yue said. Little Roar shook his head and said with incomparable arrogance, "Can you tell? I only see a perverted beast." Sima Yue threw Little Roar away and sat on Yiguang, saying, "Let's go." After receiving the order, Yiguang broke into a run. Little Roar found his balance in the air and saw that they had already left. He complained unhappily. She actually treated a handsome and confident ancient divine beast like this. As expected, a woman's heart is the most poisonous. However, other female beasts don't have any immunity against me. Why is you always so violent? Could it be that she was a man in her past life? That's not right. Wasn't she you in her past life? Sigh, what a headache. Unable to think of an answer, he saw that Sima Yue and the rest had already run far away. He hurriedly chased after them and landed on Yiguang's head, looking forward with a commanding attitude. With Yiguang's speed, they quickly returned to Yin City. Sima Yue first went to the inn and found out that Sima Lai and the rest had already left 10 days ago. She directly went to the Spirit Master Guild and took the teleportation array to return to the capital. One day later, Sima Yue arrived at the capital and directly returned to the general's residence. "Fifth young master, you're finally back." When the butler saw Sima Yue, he excitedly ran over. "Hee, I'm back. Where's grandfather?" Sima Yue smiled and asked. "The general is in the living room." The butler said, "I'll go find grandfather." Sima Yue finished speaking and wanted to leave, but was stopped by the butler. "Fifth young master, it's better if you don't go now. The people from the Nailing clan are here." The butler said, "The people from the Nailing clan are here? Nailing clan? What do they come here for?" Sima Yue asked. Didn't she ask Bei Gongtang and the rest to cause trouble for Nailing clan? Why did they have the time to come here to cause trouble? It's not Nalan clan. It's the great elder of the Nalan clan. He said he wants to see you. The butler said, but the general saw that they didn't look friendly and was afraid that they were up to no good. So he instructed that if you came back, you shouldn't go to the living room. Great elder? Sima Yue searched her memories for the great elder of the Nalan clan. It was said that he was the strongest person in the Nalan clan other than the old ancestor. He was just a step away from breaking through to the Spirit Saint realm. Sima Yue originally wanted to go to the living room to meet the great elder, but the butler stubbornly refused to let her go. She also thought that Sima Lai wasn't so weak that he couldn't even handle an elder, so she gave up and returned to her own courtyard. The butler gave a look to the guard at the side, indicating that he should inform them when the people from the Nalan clan left. After that, he followed Sima Yue and left together. Returning to her own courtyard, Sima Yue didn't know whether to laugh or cry when she saw that the butler was guarding her closely. Did he still think that she was that young and inexperienced youth who was easily hurt and was afraid that she would get hurt? She kept this feeling of being touched in her heart. Thinking about the Nalan clan, she laughed coldly in her heart. She smiled and looked at the butler. Butler, did something happen to the Nalan clan recently? Chapter 105. Fifth Young Master. How did you know? The housekeeper looked at Sima Yue in surprise. The Nalan family had kept this matter a secret. If they hadn't been paying attention to the Nalan family's matters, they wouldn't have known about it. Didn't the fifth young master just return to the capital city? How'd he know? Ahem, I'm just guessing, Sima Yue said. Otherwise, the first elder of the Nalan family wouldn't have come to our house. I heard that Nalan, he was injured when he went to Puluo mountain range, and since he came back, he's been in seclusion. Only a few of the guards who went with her came back alive. I don't know what happened to them. The butler sighed, his words filled with schadenfreude. Hearing that, Sima Yue was overjoyed. She knew that she would never miscalculate. Young master, you're back. When Chun Jian and Yin Yu heard Sima Yue's voice, they came out of the house and looked at Sima Yue in surprise. Ever since Sima Yue left, the two of them did not have much to do. The general allowed them to cultivate on their own, which was why their strength had increased in the past few months. When Sima Yue saw the two of them, she smiled and asked, "Did you miss young master?" "Young master is being naughty again," Chun Jian said with a smile. "Young master is often not at home now. Of course we miss you." Yin Yu said, "How long will young master be staying this time? I should be going to the academy tomorrow." Sima Yue said, "I see that both of you have improved a lot. I wonder if your culinary skills have improved as well. Go, prepare dinner for this young master. I'm starving to death." Chun Jian and Yin Yu looked at each other and said in unison, "Young master, please wait a moment. We'll do it right away." After that, the two of them bowed and left. They went to the kitchen to prepare dinner for her. Sima Yue was about to return to her room when she saw the housekeeper still standing in the courtyard. She waved her hand at him and said, "Go do your work. Since I'm back here, I won't go see that rotten old man from the Nalan family." The housekeeper was indeed busy. He looked at her hesitantly, then cupped his hands and said, "Then this old servant will leave. Go on, go on." Sima Yue waved her hand and waited for the steward to leave before returning to her own house. After a while, Chun Jian and Yin Yu brought dinner over. Looking at the delicious dishes, Sima Yue couldn't help but steal a bite. "It seems that your culinary skills didn't drop when I wasn't here." Hearing her praise, Yin Yue both smiled. Fifth young master. Just as Sima Yue was about to start eating, a guard shouted from the courtyard, "Young master, Master send a visit Yue." Young master, T-master send Yue young Yue and Yue, bring it over and follow me. Sima Yue went to Sima Yue's study, and Chun Jian followed behind her while carrying the dishes. When they were outside the study, Sima Yue took the tray and signaled Chun Jian to go back. The guards outside the study were ordered to open the door for Sima Yue when they saw her. Sima Lai was looking down at something. When he heard her voice, he didn't even raise his head and said, "Come and sit down and eat." Sima Yue placed the dishes on the table and reached out to take the letter from Sima Lai's hand. She placed a bowl of rice in his hand and said, "Since we're eating, don't look at these things." Sima Lai allowed her to place the letter to the side and accompanied her to eat dinner. After dinner, he asked the servants to clean up the dishes and even asked them to make her a cup of tea. Sima Yue looked at Sima Lai nervously. She felt that he was acting a little strange today. She had left for so long and only just met, but he didn't ask her what she was doing. He also didn't say why he called her over and only accompanied her to eat dinner and drink tea. Cough, cough. Grandfather, if there's nothing else, I'll go back first. I still have to go to the academy tomorrow. Sima Yue felt that this was a sign that Sima Lai was going to get angry and wanted to use this opportunity to escape. No rush. There's still some time before tomorrow. Sima Lai drank a mouthful of tea and slowly put the teacup down. Oh. Sima Yue picked up the teacup and drank tea. Sima Lai didn't say anything, and she didn't say anything either. The Nailan clan came today. In the end, it was Sima Lai who couldn't hold it in and spoke first. "I've heard." Sima Yue nodded. She went quiet again after that. Sima Lai looked at Sima Yue and was puzzled. In the past, every time something happened, she would ask until the end. Why was she so quiet today? He wanted to reprimand her, but couldn't. He sighed in his heart. He really couldn't reprimand her. "You should know why they came, right?" Sima Lai said. I don't know." Sima Yue said, "The housekeeper didn't tell me. They came to ask you for people." Sima Lai stared at Sima Yue, trying to see something from her face. However, Sima Yue's expression didn't change at all. She didn't feel guilty at all, so he directly asked, "They said that you killed Nailan Shi and they want you to pay with your life." When Sima Yue heard this, she secretly thought that it was because of Nailan Shi. However, didn't something happen to Nailan He? Why did he still have the mood to find trouble with her? Hee, without any evidence. How can you say that I killed someone? She smiled slightly. So it's true? Sima Lai asked. Sima Yue nodded. She didn't plan to hide this matter from Sima Lai and said, "It was the morning when I left home. On the way to the academy, he brought a spirit master bodyguard to kill me. However, he was killed by me in the end. Actually, on the morning of Nailan Shi's death, the bodyguard he sent to protect Sima Yue had already returned and told him what happened in the alley. Seeing that Sima Yue didn't hide it, Sima Lai said, "Right now, the Nailan clan can't find Nailan Shi's body. No matter who asks, you just have to deny it." "Yes, I know." Sima Yue nodded. "However, I didn't want to talk to you about this matter today." Sima Lai changed the topic. "Tell me, did you do the recent things in the Nailan clan?" "What things?" Sima Yue didn't recover for a moment as she looked up at Sima Lai and asked. This time, Nailan he went to Pu Luo mountain range to steal the golden snake fruit. On the way back, he was chased by various spirit beasts. "This matter has something to do with you, right?" Sima Yue's heart thumped. How'd he know? Thinking that she couldn't let him know that she went to steal the golden snake fruit, she shook her head and denied. "Grandfather, how could the Nailan clan's matters have anything to do with me? Who knows if they've provoked some kind of spirit beast, and that's why they've been hunted down." "All right, don't quibble." Sima Lai said, "I saw you guys." "What?" Sima Yue was really surprised this time. Could it be that he recognized her even when she disguised herself like that? Chapter 106. The subtle changes on Sima Yue's face did not escape Sima Lai's eyes. He glared at Sima Yue and pulled a long face as he said, "Still not admitting it?" Sima Yue laughed dryly and said, "Grandpa, weren't you fighting with the full ape? How did you see us?" She decided that as long as Sima Lai did not expose her, she would not directly admit it. I didn't see you, but I saw that kid from the Chu family. The three people beside, you should be your roommates, right? They were all there. So how could you not be there, brat?" Sima Lai said, "Although I was fighting, I still managed to catch a glimpse of them from time to time." Hearing what Sima Lai said, Sima Yue let out a long sigh of relief in her heart. Right now, he only thought that she was watching from a slope. If he knew that she was the one who had snatched the golden snake fruit, then the matter regarding Imo Shah would not be able to be kept. Moreover, she would definitely be taught a harsh lesson. In any case, the golden snake fruit couldn't be eaten directly. When the time came, she would just refine it into a pill and give it to them to eat. Hee, Grandpa, aren't you afraid of being hurt by the full ape? Sima Yue relaxed as she let go of her worries. The Nayland family's matter was caused by you guys? Although it was a question, Sima Lai's tone was quite certain. Sima Yue nodded and said, I heard them say that when they return from Pu Luo mountain range, they will come and find trouble with our family. So we might as well let them stay in the mountains. But Grandpa, how are those guys now? What else can we do? More than half of the bodyguards we brought with us have died, and the ones who are still alive have lost half of their lives. Nayland Lan is now hanging on by a thread, and Nayland, he is missing an arm. Speaking of the Nayland clan's miserable state, Sima Lai's face was filled with schadenfreude. They're still alive, Sima Yue said in disappointment. Sima Lai glared at Sima Yue and said, This is also a heavy blow to the Nayland family. At least during this period of time, they won't dare to challenge us directly. That Bulsh *T, first elder, still came to find trouble with me. Sima Yue curled her lips. She had wanted to kill Nayland, he in the Pu Luo mountain range. With the death of the clan head, the Nayland clan would definitely be in chaos for a while, but she had never thought that he would only lose an arm and nothing more. What you think is actually not wrong. It's just that they are weak in this aspect, but they have found other ways to make up for it. Sima Lai sighed and said, What's wrong? Sima Yue looked at Sima Lai in confusion. After you left the capital, the Nayland family invited an alchemist to join their family. It is said that the alchemist is about to reach the 3rd rank. Through this, they have attracted many spirit masters who cultivate on their own to join the Nayland clan. Furthermore, they have been constantly feeding off our business through the sale of pills. Your big brother and second brother have also been worried about this recently. Sima Lai said, It's also grandfather's fault for not having a good temper and not having a good relationship with the alchemists. That's why no one is willing to come out and help us at this time. No wonder their clan head is like this, yet they still dare to come here and cause a ruckus. Sima Yue said, But grandfather, you don't have to worry. Don't they have a 2nd-rank alchemist? We will also have one. She understood the attraction of an alchemist to cultivators and the thirst of those mercenaries for pills. If the Nayland family had an alchemist joining them, they would indeed have the capital to continue being arrogant. However, that was under the premise that the Sima family would not be able to find an alchemist. They were confident that Sima Lai's relationship with the alchemists was not good, so no one would be willing to join their family. However, they did not expect that an alchemist would appear from within the Sima family. Sima Yue thought back to the time when she had just arrived in this world. Sima Lai had given her medicine, and the two of them had ridiculed those alchemists for being arrogant and even said that she would become an alchemist. Now, in less than half a year, she had already fulfilled her initial promise. A 2nd-rank alchemist, she muttered. I want to see how powerful a 2nd-rank alchemist like you is. What did you say? Sima Lai saw that Sima Yue was muttering to herself and asked, Nothing. Grandfather, if there's nothing else, I'll go back first. Sima Yue said, What do you mean there's nothing else? Sima Lai remembered that there was something he had not said and asked, Where have you been for the past 10 days? Your 3rd brother only said that you had something to do and went out first. He didn't say where you went and what you did. You made us worried to death. Sima Yue then remembered about the spirit beasts and said, I didn't go there either. I just want to find a friend and brought back some tamed spirit beasts. Didn't you say that those people could come back at any time? I just wanted to see if there was any way to increase our strength. It just so happens that the Nayland family has attracted quite a few spirit masters, so we can use spirit beasts to make up for it. After she finished speaking, she called out the tamed spirit beast from the spirit pearl. Suddenly, the study room was filled with spirit beasts. Sima Lai was shocked by the sudden change in front of his eyes. After that, he looked at Sima Yue and said, Where did these come from? Didn't you say that you found a friend to get them? Sima Yue said, Half of them are saint beasts, and there are a few 3rd-rank saint beasts. These are all left for my brothers. With their current strength, they should be able to contract a second spirit beast, right? As for those lower-ranked ones, we can take them to the shop to make up for the loss of the pills. The higher-ranked ones can be contracted by the trusted guards of the residence. What do you think, grandfather? Simalai looked at these spirit beasts excitedly. He had originally wanted to find a batch of spirit beasts for the people of the residence to contract, but the higher-ranked ones were not cheap. When he went to the Beast Tamer Master Guild, they said that they could only tame spirit beasts below Saint Beasts. For spirit beasts above Saint Beasts, they could only provide 1 or 2 spirit beasts per month. Other than providing the spirit beast himself, he also had to pay a large sum of money to tame them. He did not expect that Sima Yue had left to do this. He was extremely excited, and at the same time, he sighed in his heart at Sima Yue's meticulousness. He had just told her about the potential dangers, and she immediately thought of using spirit beasts to increase her strength. All right, there's also something else. That person told me that the spirit beasts she tamed are quite special. If she contracts with a person, both parties will receive strength feedback during the contract. The stronger one can even directly advance in rank. Furthermore, when a master advances in rank, the spirit beast will advance in rank as well. Sima Yue added. What? Sima Lai suspected that he had heard wrongly and asked again. You said that the contract can advance in rank? When the master advances in rank, the spirit beast will advance in rank as well. Yes, that person told me that. He said that her spirit beast taming technique is quite special. However, I don't know if it's true or not. Sima Yue said, Grandfather, find someone to deal with these spirit beasts first. As for the matter of the Nail and Family's pills, it should be settled soon. You're tuning in to the Romance Rendezvous YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.